Alright. Hello everybody, and welcome to session number 16 of the Imris Saga. How's everybody doing? I didn't actually ask this question to everybody yet. This feels actually appropriate this time.
Whoop. I had my volume on, so when you started talking, it was coming through my phone, which is next to my microphone. It's like, what?
Whoopsie doopsie.
I'm not answering your question. I just refuse.
Oh.
Everybody's just gonna be silent. Alright. I see how it is.
I'll go for it. I'll tell you
Thanks,
about
man.
my day. I'll get on the couch. I'll have a therapy session.
Isn't that what this is?
Just using me for my
This is a
D&D.
therapy session. You will provide me emotional catharsis through roleplay. Sir, you.
Not open discussion.
I got my vaccine shot yesterday, and I got a new hoodie. That's where I'm at.
It is an awesome hoodie.
It looks so comfy.
Yeah, I got it really oversized. I didn't have one yet. I needed something that was like 2 sizes too big.
Hey, peak co's is hard to find.
Yeah.
How about you, Sean? How are you doing? You were...
Oh, I was talking about therapy? No. Just been really, really long, tedious days at work. And tomorrow morning, I get to go to the DMV before I go back for another full, tedious day of work. Probably another 10-hour day. And then Thursday, I have to be in the office by 6 a.m.
Oof.
So I am digging it. It will be fun. It's one of those weeks. For those who don't know, I work at a university, helping do lab prep setup and everything else. And then the series of experiments that are being run, like they're trying to run some experiments starting at like 8:30, but you need to prep everything 2 hours before. But you have to be there and set it up half hour before you can do the prep. So 6 a.m.
And the best part is you can't do it the night before.
You can't. You actually can't.
Yeah.
But my boss has promised that he understands that this week is rough, so he's taking me out for margaritas on Friday. So
wow, can we trade bosses?
That is a perk. That is a perk. I'll be real. Like I can't get overtime, but he does be like, "Yo, just so you know, you've been working hard this week. Margaritas are on me on Friday." So
I do remember that aspect and miss that aspect of that kind of career.
Yeah.
It's very collegial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just get extra trainings, which I'm doing. I had a training last week on Saturday, and I have a training this week on Saturday because I still don't know how to do my job.
Training us on Saturday for teachers sound awful.
Yeah, they're unpleasant.
And then you get to do all of your grading work too.
Oh, I'm a contract hours teacher.
We're taking away your prep time on Monday. We need you to cover in this other course. We can't give you prep time on Tuesday either. But also, can you get all of your lessons plans for the next 2 weeks in? We kind of need to front load so that you have time to develop the lesson plan for this class because this person is going to be out. Charlie's laughing, but I can see the trauma.
You should steal something from their houses.
How are you doing, Mars?
I'm doing great. I don't have any dramatic teaching stories since I'm in a wildly different career, but it's been an okay week. Really busy though.
No dramatic sound development stories?
Actually a few. I wish I didn't have NDAs because I would love to gush, but alas.
This is a totally safe format.
Yeah, streaming live on Twitch.
Does anybody want to admit to any federal crimes?
Like in America, I'll admit to American federal crimes. Like, what's gonna happen to me? Also, somebody is watching because I'm talking to them in the chat. I really like the passing it around of how people's days are. It was very funny.
I too freeze up if I'm not on top.
I'd like to vote to evict all of you, and I just sit here for 4 hours talking to myself about the adventures of Will and Keller.
Oh yeah,
Marisa and Charlie and Sara can stay.
do we want?
Sorry, just imagining Jack back and forth.
It wouldn't be the least interactive D&D I'd played.
Oh.
Three times, I think. Yeah.
Andrew, is your audio definitely working for the stream? It sounds like you might be coming through a different microphone than normal, because you also sound a bit different.
I moved it a little bit closer. That should fix it on the stream.
Great.
All right. Let me do the quick version. There was 2 fights. The first one was easier. The second one was harder. Medea went down 3 times. Uba got crit, I think, just the 1 time, but was also injured. And the party was kind of left deciding to retreat out of this area and head down and check out some of the other buildings in the Lost City, which they are currently exploring. So, we begin with you guys having we ended with the short rest. So, you guys had just finished short resting in the Temple of Cordal. You've attuned to the magic items that you found here. So,
oh yeah, you didn't send me what that item did.
Should have reminded me.
I know. I agree with you that I should have. But we can roleplay while you do it if you like.
I mean, that's okay. You guys are, I think, deciding what to do a little bit. Although the plan seemed to head to that big building off to the east.
Yeah, I think my memory was that we wanted to check out the Temple of Sill, despite the demons maybe being more alerted, and then head back to the house. And if it was time for like a long rest, do that there, and then head back tomorrow to like in the other direction.
That's basically my recollection as well.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is we should try to have a plan like ready to go in case we need to do a long rest and really come down to it. We should have the plan already made so that we can just set up. Charlie, is it you that has the spell that might allow us to build the temporary shelter?
Yes, indeed.
Gotcha. Would that be?
This takes some time to cast, so it's not like a quick thing.
Yeah, it's an 11-minuter because I'll cast it as a ritual, and it's or 20 minutes. Wait, I can't remember.
It's the spell.
It's a ritual
10 plus 10. Time.
Yeah, so it's 20-minute cast is what it is.
Gotcha.
I think. Let me check. It's either 10 or 11 or 20. I'm looking.
Yeah, so it's not quick, but I think definitely that we want to check out the Temple of Sill. Like, that was the point of coming to the temple area. Everything else has kind of been a bonus. And then, as long as we're heading sort of in the other direction, we're going to be spreading out where they're seeing us, which I think is important for them not to be able to like lock us down. Because if they see us here and then they see us in the next district up, and then it's like, well, if word is getting back to them somehow.
Is there a way? Is there any like minor illusion that we have that we could send out phantasms or projections in some way and cause potentially if there are any scouts tracking us? I'm trying to remember with 5e the level of help that we can do that with minor illusion spells or prestidigitations or anything.
I might give you advantage. It kind of that's a little bit of like a clever use thing for minor illusion prestidigitation.
Yeah. It kind of has to be in the moment as well until you get to like greater illusion and stuff.
Gotcha.
I mean, if I could cast an illusionary dragon to just be like, go be a problem, I would. If I could just fast forward to level 15, I would do that. Look, this thing that we found, these braces, they make Will level 15 and have access to illusory dragon as a bard spell. Yeah, so I think that I think it's a good idea to have an idea of like what our short rest will be if it's not in that house that we've like already established sort of base in. So yeah, so it takes us 11 minutes to set up that hut. But then after that, it can't be penetrated by anything. But they could just, if they find it, set up around it, the outside.
Gotcha. So we still want a way to like tuck it into a nook or cranny somewhere and
yes,
be as secure as we could. Okay. All right.
So, how's everyone doing?
I've got 15 extra temporary hit points on top of full health. I don't know if anyone here has ever had like a blood transfusion or a saline bag pump in and like been ready to go after that. But that's how I imagine. Like Alveron has just had a saline bag pumped in. He is high and ready to go and just all right. Let's Temple of Sill. Not my cup of tea, but yeah, let's. Why am I doing Owen Wilson? Why am I doing Owen Wilson for that?
You know, sometimes you almost die, other times you're fine. It's an almost died kind of day.
I think Uba is gonna like try to slap Medea on the back, but probably can't reach, so ends up like slapping Medea on the thigh and says, "Hey, at least we have people in our party that will help us. I've gone down a few times myself and always bounced back."
I appreciate it.
Sulveran is going to just stare at Medea for a moment and say, "Only almost."
Is that a threat or an assurance?
You can take it as you like. And he is not quite smiling, but his like lips are twitching a bit.
Do we want to head to the temple now? Or do we want
If everyone's
to wait
ready, we can go.
Alright. Fine with me.
Will has put her armor into the bag of holding and is wearing the braces now.
I think Uba will say, "Yes, I'm ready to go, but I don't know about anyone else, but I can't cast any more spells today."
I can cast one more.
I have some stores of my magical energy left still.
We really should learn how to conserve our resources in fights better.
I agree that is something that some of us should learn.
Yeah, some of us.
I look down at my rapier. I've still got plenty of stabs left in this.
The full casters are just like, what do you mean you used all your spells?
I've got like at least, I don't know, more than 7.
Or if you don't count.
I am.
1, 2,
This
3,
is
I'm quite
blatant
equipped for
NPC
another fight.
erasure.
5, 6, 7, 8,
They just politely look
9.
at Mort.
I could still cast 9 spells.
I could cast infinite spells, but of those of significant power, I could cast 5.
7.
Alright, I'm saving one of those counter spells for one of your spells, Sulveran, just to even it out a bit.
How would that even it out? Doesn't that take up yours at the same time?
Will thinks about it for a moment and says, "Sure, but I get to feel like a dominance over Sulveran's casting ability."
That's reasonable. That's what teamwork is about. And they just like let out this like shitty half-hearted giggle.
Of course. Silver's just like tilting his head. The things that you do, I cannot hope to do. So I believe you've already established dominance.
Sure, I will acknowledges you, but like was mainly joking and really ready to leave because Will travels the lightest, I think.
Everybody at this point is like propping themselves up by their spear and getting up.
Okay. You guys all prepare to leave, gathering up your things and exiting the hidden alcove.
Sulveran probably like tucks away those mail gauntlets that he was studying back into his bag and puts that on his back.
Right, to the Temple of Sill. I guess Will reopens the secret door.
Sure. Gonna stow the rapier and just have the short bow back out. Maybe I'll have better luck this session. That short bow. Maybe.
Okay. You guys exit this temple, the temple, and glance over to where the Temple of Sill is at. Again, I mentioned this a couple times. It's the Temple of Sill and Perador. It's like a joint temple. Glancing about, can I get everybody to make me perception checks? You're, I think, actively looking here.
Yes. Okay. Would this be Okay, I was gonna say, could we do investigation instead, but whatever.
No, it's a perception check.
Okay.
Missing somebody. Charlie?
I'm in.
Of course
Is it not? Let me see.
I just don't see your role.
Let me hit it again. I'm trying to do it from the main page because every time I pop open my character sheet, it's unhappy with me. Like the little shortcut buttons.
Okay, I saw 2 now.
So good for such a short time.
We'll use the 14. Or to roll probably.
What about Keller's perception, Andrew? What if Keller sees?
Okay, yeah, I'll roll for
Does Kella
God
need
knows.
glasses? Has she gotten glasses?
+1.
I don't know whether or not Keller needs glasses, but Keller's
Tied for the best.
never been bad at anything.
Roll here.
Yeah, Kella sees almost the most of everyone.
Watch as it's a DC 20 to find it.
The
Okay.
rough time that Alveron has rolled a 3. Maybe I'll be luckier this session. A 3 on an expertise.
Listen, my passive perception is freaking 18, and yet
You should take the observant feat at level 8.
Pretty good one. You guys look about, just scanning the area, having re-entered. It's a little bit late, or not late, but it's kind of hitting noon at this point. You had left in the morning, walked all the way here, been exploring a little bit, then took a rest. So you've wasted, about half a day. Used about half a day currently. Glancing about, you could see the dead headhound bodies still across the way in the Temple to Mordain. They don't seem to have moved. But otherwise, it is as it was before, silent and empty here in the kind of square of temples. You begin making your way over towards the Temple of Sil and Perador. Entering it in, you find it to be, of all the temples that you've been into so far, probably in the best condition, although there are still obvious signs of wear and decay. There is still plants growing here and there. There's water fountains, which are still not really fountains, but more like streams where water flows through, probably maintained through gravity or some other means rather than magic or mechanisms, as it does appear to be still working. However, there is obvious signs of wear, scuff marks here and there. It's clear that battles were done. There are still statues standing, and otherwise seems to be in a little bit better shape than the other ones. It's at least as you walk up the steps, you can see two stories. There's a large balcony area, which you guys are kind of standing on. You can see below you is where these fountains are. They're kind of ringed by columns. Not ringed, but flanked by columns on either side. You can see out the back way, there is two other exits, although they seem to lead to the same place. There aren't any doors on this floor, although you think there might be some on the floor below you.
And I say a prayer to Sill as we enter this temple.
What are you praying for?
Just like a general prayer that you would say when you're welcomed into like a new house that you're staying in or something, like when you're a guest.
Okay.
Sulveran is listening to that prayer very carefully.
It's like probably not the perfect version of that prayer, but I think Will's like family from when she was young maybe did like nighttime prayers to Sill. So she's like, I have some connection to Sill. I don't have any connection to the last two temples we walked into, so I will pray to this one. And then you said there's no. You say we came in on the top floor, and it's a 2-story place.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There are steps leading down to the
That's what we said.
bottom floor. It's a rectangular building. If you guys are on one end of the rectangle, there's 2 staircases leading down, and then directly opposite is mirrored 2 staircases leading up, and 2 exits leading out that way.
Well, if there are there's no rooms and doors on this floor.
No, it seems mostly to be like just extra space. You can see there was murals and stuff. Some of them have been kind of defaced. And actually, as you look about to kind of scan it more clearly, maybe who wants to make me a religion check?
Can I ask as well? Is the floor made out of like a smooth stone or like a brick?
They're like cut tiles.
Can I have advantage on my religion check since I just prayed to Sill?
No.
Okay. Feel like it's worth asking.
What did you say, Andrew, about what do you say about the brickwork and stuff? Sorry, my brain blanked.
They're like smooth tiles. So it's all like white marble.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of it. The paint is faded, but there's paint also as well here and there around, kind of just decorative on the floor, just since you're looking at it. Okay, sorry.
Uber, you're our religious dynamo.
Lord
We
roll.
need you to roll like a nat 20, please. We need the Marisa first critical
The
of the
Hort
session
is
to be done.
not as good at this as you might
That's-
expect.
I'm curious. Uba's just
Wait.
gonna try and guess for fun.
Is Keller even slightly better than this at this than like the clerics of the party?
That'd be hilarious.
Probably
Mhm.
better
I
than
mean,
Hort. It's not
there we
hard to
go.
beat.
Uber's a genius. I don't know why we don't have
Oh,
Uber
God,
do
well,
all of
yes.
our religion.
Uber should just be our new pope.
Keller still
Uba.
came second.
Yeah, still second. Uba, as you're looking around, you're kind of thinking, these statues don't look quite like they're still standing, but they don't look quite right. Like you're like, been in a couple times before. These are not like a little bit strange, and some of the other murals and various things don't seem a little bit off, not just defaced, but almost repurposed. As you're looking about, you don't think that this is a temple to Sil or Perador anymore. The statues, although they were clearly dedicated to Sill, the three that you see in the room, they have been altered in subtle but noticeable ways. You are not intelligent enough about religion to speak as to what they've been altered to, but you can see the alterations. There are images of snakes that have been placed into various portions where they should not be. And you can clearly see where the statues have been added features that are demonic in nature.
Okay, so Uba, not knowing much about these religions, is going to point at one of the statues and say, I didn't think that Sill was a demon. And is just going to, like, gesture at one of the statues.
She's not.
Can I make another religion check with the information of Sill was been called a demon by Uber?
This has been pointed out to you, and you now recognize this, but no other information comes to any of your minds who have already rolled.
Can I make an investigation
Probably
check on the
not.
statues to see if there's any, like, obvious major changes in the stonework?
Sure. You descend down. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I make an Arcana check on the statues as well?
That's fine. Yep.
Give me a good roll.
Okay. 26. I'll do the investigation check first. You go down. Definitely the stone has been reshaped by tools. You even think that you're kind of looking at it. Some of the stone is newer, although it's all still very, very old. So newer being a relative term. That's kind of been added to add new features onto it. And although you didn't notice at first, now that you're looking at them, Uba was definitely correct. These have been altered significantly. Not like in a major way. The entire head is different, but like the eyes now are slitted like snake eyes. There's like scaly features added. One of them has very subtle horns peeking out of the top of the hair, and so these statues that are all of three women have been slightly altered so that they are subtly off when you look at them. It's not so much that you would immediately pick up on it. You weren't kind of looking around for it or particularly observant about such things. As you so Will is kind of heading down there as well, just so I know what are the others doing. Ort, I think, is going to go down and kind of just stand around while you guys are looking at the statues.
I think Uba's going to probably follow Sulveran around, because Sulveran seems to be the most religious, and Uba's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to follow the priest around, just to be safe.
Yeah. Good for Uva, because Sulveran is very slowly just kind of navigating the temple, and he is, I think he's genuinely struggling to see what he should expect in a Temple of Sill, since he probably hasn't had the chance to visit one of these yet. And so he looks just as mystified as Alveron probably would. But very investigative and very displeased at that statue. Whenever Uba pointed it out to him, he kind of grimaces a bit, and that's profane.
Yeah, Alveron, I think, is absolutely not enjoying. And now that it's been pointed out that the statues are serpentine, and I don't like serpents. I've dealt with them before. No, but as we're making our way down, I think Alveron is going to keep more to the edge of this open area that we're walking into, and just very much be keeping his eyes open. And I know you said that there's no entrances and exits on the second floor, but for this open area, are there doors? Are there entry and outways?
Let me clarify. All the entrances leading out of the building seem to be on the second floor. There just aren't any doorways elsewhere to different parts of the temple. So the two entrances leading out back are on the opposite side on the floor that you walked in at. You'd have to either go around the balcony or through the bottom floor. When you come down here, there are a number of other doors. There are doors behind the steps on either side, and there is a door as you kind of getting down almost immediately off to the left, and then one equally almost immediately off to the right.
What's the condition of the doors? Are they still like pretty well maintained? Are they starting to decay or fall apart?
They're pretty worn. The doors are made out of wood. It seems like a hefty wood. If you're kind of glancing about, you will note that the one off to the left when you walk in, and all of the ones behind the staircases are knocked in. They're just doorways.
Gotcha. And then is there, as I'm looking around, is there sand on the floor? Middle of the desert, no one's swept through the temple in a while, entryways and whatnot. Is there like a layer of sand or silt or dust on the floor?
Less than you would expect. Much less than you would expect.
Less than the other temples?
Yes.
That we've been in?
Like I said, this one is
Can I make a
much
perception
more
or an
clean.
investigation check to see if there's any trails or any signs of activity in the sand?
Yeah, I think that's a perception check here.
Okay.
Can Uba give you an advantage on that, since Uba would know how to look for tracks and things like that?
Yeah, that's fine. You can help them with survival.
Uba's gonna get down and like have their nose almost at the floor looking for tracks.
Cool.
Point out for you.
While they're doing that, Will.
Oh, dope.
Nice. Okay. As you're looking at this statue, giving it once over, trying to see if there's any runes or arcane sigils. There's lots of religious symbology, and you think that these statues were used as conduits of divine power for the temple, probably where the consecrated ground stemmed out of these temples. The magic's not gone, but it's been changed so that they've been altered to resuit whatever new purpose this building has used. You note symbols of necrotic magic, we'll say, like anti-divine demonic energies have been, instead of protecting against these things, it's been altered to aid against these things. or aid these things, not aid against these. Okay.
Right.
So, Alveron, as you and Uba kind of start to see about any tracks, you do note that there are kind of what seems to be snake-like slitherings in the on the ground. It's pretty hard to spot. You don't think most people would never be able to see this actually, but Uba is just like helping you point out these subtle areas where the sand, what sand there is, what sand and dust has shifted in a slithering pattern. Most of it will kind of cut off at the water's edge. And so just to describe the building a little bit better, down on the second floor, there's almost a cross-shaped pattern of water, in the center of which there is a circular fountain around a sort of platform with bridges crossing to either corner. The statues are on basically the points of the cross, except for the one where you enter. So there's one at the far end, one at the left, one at the right. Will and Medea have kind of been going back and forth between a couple of them to discover all this information that they've found out. But like I said, the snake trails seem to lead to the water and often will stop.
Do they stop short of the water, or it's
No, they'll go up to where the water begins and then end whatever is moving has gone into the water or perhaps come out of the water.
Gotcha. And just gonna try to roll on that. Is there any sign of wet sand around the edge of the waters if something has crawled out recently or crawled in and disturbed the water and caused a splash?
No, there's not, as you're looking about.
Okay.
Unless there's a way out of the water that you don't know of, presumably whatever creature went in, probably still there. Because it doesn't really, with the 20, I'll tell you, it doesn't really seem like they came out of the water. It more looks like they went into the water.
Gotcha. At that, I'm just going to snap kind of and just try to get people's attention as we're around. Make a shushing motion. Point out the tracks. Point at one of the more serpentine sculptures. Kind of make a... And then point at the water and just be like, "It's in there. Guys, I didn't know snakes did that." Fucked up.
I think Will immediately upon seeing the magic of the statue having been repurposed has pulled out her fiddle and is just really absently plucking on her fiddle, and it's a really it's not a song at all. It changes key more than a song really ever should, and it doesn't change key in a way that is useful. But she's basically, I'm going to continually keep plucking my fiddle to activate counter charm for indefinitely, because it doesn't have an amount of times I can use it. So until for some reason I don't want to do it, I'm just going to be plucking counter charm out to make it actually a useful feature. But yeah, I'll kind of try and hover in the middle of the group, catching as many people within 30 feet of me as possible. And because that is taking a lot of Will's focus, we'll say, does anyone know what those traps could be?
Serpents. The way the sand is disturbed. Do I have approximate dimensions from looking at the tracks?
Large.
Could I make a nature check on it?
Hmm?
Okay.
Can Uba help with the nature check?
Oh.
Sure. I haven't looked at the roll yet, so I'll allow it.
Okay.
Okay, 20 total.
Right. It's hard to tell with snakes because you're not getting hoof prints or anything. It's definitely a large snake. And there is something a little bit. It's very heavy snake as well. Like this is a large, heavy snake. You're not sure exactly what type because it's just you don't have that much to go off of. But whatever it is not a small thing.
If it matters too, snakes in real life, if based on if they're rattlers or like venomous, actually trail differently and move differently. Can I get an idea if?
Sure, I will tell you it is a venomous snake, not a rattling snake.
Okay.
Or not a wrapping snake.
Hmm.
Not a constrictor.
So glad I decided to take up all of Will's ability with this feature that will be never useful, so I can't make rolls on stuff. This is a good choice I've made.
You have to use it every turn, an action every turn.
Every 12 seconds, but I like the idea that Will is focusing on
Okay.
the thing.
Medea will pull out their spear and point at it and sort of like look to the group like, do we and like sort of like shake the spear lightly?
Given that Uba pointed out the serpentine eyes of the statue, and that nature check that was just made, could Sulveran make an additional religion check, like connecting those concepts plus the tracks, to try to figure out more about this snake
Sorry, what kind of roll?
that is venomous? Religion. So of any legends of,
Yeah, I'll let
demons
you
and
make a roll.
fiends or things that. All right.
I think while Sulveran's doing that, we'll say, this isn't a temple to Sill anymore anyway. We may as well just
12.
leave. This has been repurposed.
You've learned there's a snake in here, and kind of like thinking about some more large snake creatures, trying to connect that to demons. You do have an inkling back in the back of your mind, remembering that snakes are supposed to be particularly not exactly a symbol of, but creatures that Shenik, the god of fear, often employs in their imagery and uses them to sort of bring about that effect of fear. As you're thinking on this, Uba, I need you to make me. Right, let me just double check what this is. Charisma saving throw. You will have advantage from Will's counter charm.
Okay.
Did it! I used counter charm effectively.
+3 as well for my thing.
Okay.
Oh, thank God for that.
I don't
So
think they're
19?
near you. This room is quite large. Because your thing's only 10 feet, right?
I was just talking with Uba about the trap.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. I had imagined you still with Will. Let me move you.
Are we on a
counter
map?
charm's only 30 feet. By the
Maybe.
way.
Oh no.
Andrew, counter charm's only
Yes.
30 feet, so just.
Oh, it's not
I
just in listening
wanna
range.
Refill this now.
Let me
No,
check.
I just want to be clear
That's okay.
about the very
You're still in range.
ability counter charm.
Sorry, the neighborhood stranger cat came by.
Sulveran is going to murmur to Will, keep playing. I think these are servants of.
I'm sorry. It should have been a
I didn't hear
wisdom
your name.
saving throw. I misspoke. But we'll use the same 15. So it's the same for you anyways.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, 16. Um, coming out a little bit from these kind of the shrubbery that flanks some of this water, you see two eyes, Uba, and it kind of nods back and forth for a moment. Nobody else immediately sees this, and you feel a magical effect start to wash over your mind. But you hear Will's soft plucking of strings off in the distance, and you shake the effect. And you now can tell that you are staring at what are the beady eyes of a large serpent. I'm gonna go ahead and
I
put this
think
to a
Uba
map.
is just going to scream snake at the top of their lungs and pulls their bow and arrow out. They don't actually shoot it at the snake, but they have it ready to go.
The snake alarm.
Snake alarm.
That's what we didn't learn. That kobolds haven't, like elephants are scared of mice. Kobolds are just like all terrified of snakes. No exceptions.
I know you said that as a joke, but I'm gonna accept it as
I like it.
canon. So
I like it
Uba
because it
will
also means that Ort is scared of snakes.
Uba will scream snake, but with much more fear in their voice than before.
Well, you have
Okay.
advantage against being
This is
afraid
a
of snakes.
massive battle map.
Okay.
I
if
think
we-
in
Oh, I've used this one.
if we fight or not, Andrew, I want to know for these, are these fiends for the thing? Just so that I don't have
For
to
our purposes, they are
argue about
fiends.
it later. Okay.
is this still a time of action, or do we need to stop and
Oh,
roll initiative?
We're rolling initiative. Sorry, I should have said that.
Okay.
I think that anytime anyone screams snake in D&D, you have to roll initiative. I think that's just
Andrew, how do I add the
you've used
+2 to
these
my
before.
initiative on this?
Oh yeah,
under initiative. There's a plus mod, and you might just be able to add it in there.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll
It
work.
should be. Yeah.
Oh, did
yeah.
you add the? Did you add the item or?
No, but I think I
did it.
fixed
I
your
rolled a five.
initiative. Regardless.
No, yes, but the wolf helm gives a +2 to initiative, and now that we've attuned it, I need to make it a total of plus.
You should have a.
No, it's
You
not.
should have a +6. Right.
Yes, I'm fixing that now.
Okay.
Because I'm going from the +4 to the. Oh, okay, you got it.
No.
Cool.
So hold on. You should have a. Should be +2. Hold on. In the mod thing.
Well, yes, but sorry, no, I have a class ability as well that adds my
Your
proficiency modifier.
okay, so it should be +5 then.
Or is it proficiency or hold on?
I thought it was charisma.
I thought it was
But I could
charisma
be
too.
wrong.
Yeah,
So you might be
no,
right then.
I messed it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
then
it should be 6.
now you're at +6. Got it.
Yes,
6 total.
we
Okay.
got there. We got there.
So
Because I've never rolled.
go ahead and roll
above
now.
a 5
It's a good thing you didn't roll yet.
Yes.
Because I've never rolled above a 5 on initiative, I did spend a long
Jesus.
time thinking about a spell. And the spell would invert your initiative. So if you roll a 5, it's actually a 15. And I'm just betting on myself to not be lucky. Which is bad.
know where the snake is, right? Like Uba looked at it and yelled. Thing is not
Yeah,
hidden.
Uba yelled, and as Uba is yelling, the snake is coming out. You guys know it's here. There's no point in hiding in the water anymore.
Are we going to
Very
be
proud.
supportive of the snake?
I'm glad we.
Sorry.
All right. Snake is going to go first with that 22. I think this is the first time Uba hasn't gone first in a long while.
Yeah.
Uba,
Red touches yellow. You're a dead fellow, y'all.
it's going to
Yeah,
jump.
I was thinking of it too.
Yeah, I can't see this on the map.
That is an accurate rendition of a coral snake. I cannot actually see any map, so I'm refreshing.
Can nobody
I
see?
love corals.
I can see the map. I just can't see the giant coral snake's token.
Me too, but I
Yeah.
see the golden
Yeah, I
sparkly
see-
thing,
The
which I'm assuming is the snake.
sigil that you have that is around there because it's turn.
Coral snakes are so pretty.
Well, it's on the
Medea,
stream.
no compassion for humans. Also Medea. Look at this snake that's trying to
Yeah.
hypnotize my friend. I want it as a pet. I can't see Medea either.
Can
I
we just
realize.
try to charm it and make it a pet? We already have 2 scorpions, so
I think this thing would be adopting us.
That's fair. Like a cat, but bigger.
Snakes are delightful to have as pets, though.
They really are,
Yeah. I doubt
but
this
not
one
coral
will let.
snakes.
I doubt this one would let us, boop its snoot. But
You should try it. We
Not-
have a collective 21 spells of healing to deal with your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like,
feel
just
bad
pull
because
out
there's a
another
cobra
one. Can you
somewhere in
guys see
Grand
that?
Prairie, possibly still.
Yes.
Yep, there we
It's
go.
still not been
Jump
found.
pieces
There
of
they
Kobold
are.
stick. That is huge.
Oh, he's so cute.
Donkey.
Oh my god, he's adorable.
He's going to kill us.
Look at how cute his little face is. Sorry.
Andrew, we should fight 100 snakes just to cause like immense pain to Sara.
That would be me.
All of them have 1 HP and none of them are venomous. We're
Why
just
would we
killing
fight-
snakes.
Why would we fight them then?
Okay.
They try and strangle you.
It's going to jump out and try to bite Uba.
Don't bite Uba.
However,
Hooray.
you back away. That should read 14. What's that? Or
They
15,
didn't
actually.
bite Uba.
Oh, it won't let me alter it in the thing. Okay. Well, the DC is actually 15, just so we know going forward. Oh, I didn't
Okay.
mean to click on that.
Why did-
Nice.
What was
Andrew
that?
accidentally clicked.
I accidentally
Andrew
clicked create
the
new
macro for
character,
creation.
so it threw a billion D6s out. Okay.
That character had great.
So what attack is that?
It misses. I didn't mean to move that. Uba, it is then your turn. So the snake's giant mouth, it's like, the size of your head, tries to just wrap around you, but you scramble out of the way and it's kind of slow getting up out of the water. So it is your turn.
Jeez. Are there 2 snakes, or is it just my foundry being slow?
No, I pulled out an extra token because some people couldn't see the first one, but I don't want to delete the other one because that one has initiative. So
Got it.
we'll fix it eventually.
Makes sense. I think I'll use the emerald dagger. Let's see. There's 1 and there's 2. I'm assuming only the first one hits. And I get +2
That's
because
correct.
it's a fiend. And +2 more because it's a one-handed weapon, so +4.
I think it automatically put in the +2 from dueling.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
just the +2 for
so
the
11. All right.
Okay.
Take a big slash at this creature as it. It's like starting to slither out of the water and it hisses at you as you stab it. The second strike, diving in, but it's not like backed up. It's like rearing up on its body. Alveron, is then your turn.
All right,
so you're
I'm going
in that
to.
area.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying you're near to them. You're kind of standing near Uba, but you are a little bit further back.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I am. All right, that's my bonus action. Okay, so I am going to. It's been a long day, and I know we're running low on resources as we're doing this. So, I do not like this. It's a coral snake too, which I've dealt with water snakes like this, and I hate it. So I'm going to use my bonus action to put Hex on this creature and hex it. I'm going to move backwards just a bit to get myself a little bit further out of the firing, like out of the close range on this. Since Uba and Media are right there on it, I qualify for sneak attack with my bow. So I am going to use that. And I will make my attack roll. I don't have advantage because I'm not hidden.
Correct.
I just need to make sure of that, but I do still have sneak attack. So I'll make that.
That still hits, just barely.
All right. Hex will then go down on it. It will not spell slot now. Cast spell, so Hex goes off
Nice.
on it as well. And
Snake eyes.
not my best work, but
Still 17 points of damage.
not bad. But now Hex is on it, and Hex is affixed to it. And for the, I believe, I want to make sure with this, ability checks are made with disadvantage on. I'm trying to think what's the best. What would make the most sense? Jack, do you have a recommendation?
Wisdom
For
is
what
good
ability
because
check?
it needs perception to find you if you hide.
Strength or dex would mean it can't grapple people. Or it'd have a harder time.
It's a venomous one, not a constrictor, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Seems that
Yeah,
way.
I think wisdom's always good unless you know that it is going to try and grapple, in which case strength. But wisdom's always good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a question, I guess. Andrew, it's a water snake. I've dealt with those before. Do I know if these like to grapple their enemies while they try to bite them and venomize them?
You can make a nature check if you would like.
I will attempt so.
I don't
Don't
think
have
Uba
high
can
hope.
help you here. They're too busy screaming at the snake.
No, this is a very
I
personal
don't.
knowledge thing.
Oh, damn.
Okay. Yes, typically water snakes do not grapple their victim. They just bite, kill, and deal with poison. You can tell as you're looking at this, although it seems similar to snakes that you've seen, it's not exactly the same. There is a presence about it, something demonic in nature. So it might be different, but from what you know, they do not typically grapple.
Okay, then I'm going to go with the recommendation of wisdom. And so they'll have disadvantage on all wisdom ability
Okay.
checks.
Disadvantage. Got it. Excellent. Ort, who is over by Bill.
Or who would be the most offended by being called the son of Meeple?
Mm-hmm.
Is he not the son of Meeple?
Yeah, but they don't have a good relationship, and he wants to stand on his own. It's like if we fought with Meeple, and Meeple was called Meeple, father of Ort. Like that would never happen.
Maybe it's like a punishment, like a grounding for Meeple that or Ort that has to go through.
He lost a bet about eggs to Meeple
He
like
stayed
20
up
years
past.
ago.
Bill's going to go
stayed
ahead
up
and
past
cast
bedtime.
Sacred Flame creature.
Counter feels too simple. I feel like it can't just be one snake, right?
Okay, the snake fails, so it's going to take 8 points of radiant damage.
If it's one snake that, when it hits 0, becomes Shinnok, that's not a simple encounter. Depends on what happens to the snake later.
That's true, but Andrew would have had to license content.
I'm going to move over to here.
We kill the snake. What? Why do I hear boss music?
And that's going to be
Just the
his
music that
turn
Will
for
has
now.
it.
Worst thing in the world
But yeah.
is that Mars is always muted, yet they're the one laughing the hardest at my shitty jokes.
This is
Like, do you know how invalidating that is?
I'll unmute myself specifically to laugh at your jokes.
Thanks. I appreciate you.
It's not
is
going to
this-
change their behavior that much.
You said this thing is fiendish, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I specifically come off mute just so I can laugh at somebody's jokes. Even if that means I have to kind of awkwardly continue my laugh past the initial bout.
Oh hey, I finally crit.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a nice one.
All right. Yeah, all of those hit.
Okay, so that is my damage.
Oh yeah, no.
Very nice.
I've got a billion smites today.
I could smite it, but I want to save it.
Just 44 though. It's not like it's a bad round.
Casual.
The snake does appear bloodied at this. It's got an arrow wound where Alveron kind of shot through it, and you think if it was like dirt or the creature were less thick, it might even have pierced all the way through there, or still like kind of sticking out of its body. The slash where Uba has slashed it, and now several stab wounds where the spear has gone in, opening gashes up on it.
Medea is attacking this thing, not in a particularly flashy way, like they have a normal battle stance, but their face just looks more like exhaustion than anything else.
Alright, it's then Will's turn.
I'm going to move here. I won't play Counter Charm this turn, which means that it no longer functions. Yeah. But I will. Can I look around to see if there's any more snakes?
Yeah, if you want to make a perception check, you can. How thorough do you want to be about this?
Looking around, like I'm happy for it to take my.
Do you want to take
or
an
my
action
bonus
or
action.
not? I think it's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'll take an action.
Okay, you spend your action looking about. Okay, you don't see any other snakes immediately around you, but as you look at the creature, its body is writhing in a way that's not just like snake moving, not just pain or injury. Like there's something underneath the skin of the creature.
Oh.
Will tries to decide whether or not that's a useful piece of information to give.
That's definitely useful.
Yeah, probably.
Not if it makes
Traumatizing.
everybody more terrified of the snake that can already maybe terrify you or charm you. Yeah, I think Will calls out, there's definitely something up with that snake. I think it's got something under its skin.
Uba just starts screaming loudly.
I think Will then takes a step back and can I use my bonus action to, if anything attacks Keller, take the hit instead?
Sure, I'm kind of just assuming Kel's like off in the distance, so you don't have to worry about it if you don't want to.
I assume that Keller is at all times in Will's square.
In your square. That's fine if that's how you want to rule it.
I think in this situation, because of the fact that like there's nowhere that Will would have felt safe to leave Keller. So yeah, can I use my bonus action to just essentially, if Keller would take damage, Will takes the damage instead?
Sure.
Isn't that like a whole fighting style?
Yeah, I don't think it's a fighting style. I think it's something's about to hit Keller. I'll just take the damage entirely for anything.
Yeah.
It basically means that I have 2 targets for my meager hit points. I would have done something different if I hadn't used the action for the perception, but that's my turn.
Okay.
This is how you reserve resources, by doing nothing of use.
So fair.
All right. Everyone's struck so far, right? Like Alveron, Medea, and Uba all struck.
Oh, struck and hit, yes. Fort as well.
Yeah. Okay.
The creature
Yeah,
is
all
bloodied.
right.
It's looking pretty wounded.
All right. Well, in that case, I feel like a bless is not something that would occur to Sulveran to do because everybody is doing fine. You don't need blessings. You'll be fine.
Give
and
me
so,
2 rolls.
yeah, he's going to square up with it instead and join them in whacking at the creature.
All right. Whack away.
Whacking away.
There's something under that snake's skin. Everyone's surrounded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember you saying weren't sure whether or not you should say anything. Did you follow up and say something?
Yes.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Okay, so I caught the bit where Will was like, Will doesn't know if this is useful information, and Sarah's like, that's useful information. But I didn't catch the bit where you actually said the thing.
I said something. Now Uber's screaming louder.
Okay. That's why Uba started screaming louder. I knew I missed something. Alright. Well, it's too late. I've already moved Sulveran, so let's see. He's gonna
Sulveran
swipe
also
at it
doesn't
with
quite catch it in the moment.
Sorry, my everything I do on Foundry is really slow.
That's okay. Well, that's a crit.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm gonna say that with this one, he is going to drop the end of his alpenstock into its flesh, kind of like he would catch himself on the ice if he were to stagger, since like part of its body is on the ground. That's how he attacks with that alpenstock.
Okay. You actually
And then-
kill this creature. So as you do so, its body seems to burst.
Oh, I like that verb. Can you choose another verb?
Nope.
Burst like a balloon. A balloon
Pregnancy
filled
is
with
so
snakes.
beautiful.
Rupture is rupture a better verb,
Yeah, you like
Sean?
rupture.
That doesn't
think that
really-
counts a
I
word.
don't-
So,
Would-
suddenly,
Let's take
burst is the right thing. It was filled to capacity with snakes, and it burst of the snakes.
Okay.
I've seen
so
Anaconda. I don't
I
need
need
this.
I need everybody to make me a wisdom saving throw. And the three that were standing next to the creature, I need you all to make me dex saving throws as well.
Oh lord.
Well,
Okay, so
He
that's
is
a
fine.
20,
Will no.
Come on,
and then
Upa.
that is a 20 and then a 17.
Uba's is actually 14. Which is good to know.
What's 14?
Your wisdom
Ah,
save is
you're right.
actually 14.
Because
Because you're close enough to Medea. The only one who is close
Thank
enough.
you.
I guess we should make
It's no problem. My
Um,
+3 might be saving me.
Oh god.
Aww. Or
For art.
don't even ever say.
I roll so low with
Three
Art.
crit
I should
ones
make
in a
one of
row.
you guys roll for him. It's terrible. But so Will and Ort are both frightened. Everyone else is okay. Some of you just barely. With those
Did
14s.
did the aura of protection make the difference? I'm curious.
For Uba, yes, for sure. Uba would have failed.
Okay.
thank you.
Can Sulveran, after having
I will.
killed
I
that
will
snake,
tell you,
being
the
startled-
DC was 14. So
Oh my
I-
god.
Damn.
I will flavor the aura of protection. Is Medea having like smiled at Uba as it burst and then like just like pointing to themselves to look at them while the snakes were exploding, so they weren't looking at it?
I think I
But-
should have given Uba disadvantage for screaming so much.
Medea.
Just-
So you looked at Medea as Medea was showered with snake viscera?
Yeah, and it made me feel better.
Because it wasn't live snakes, it was dead snakes.
Right.
Great.
So does Sulveran, after having killed that creature still and had this happen to him, does he still have the wherewithal to make his bonus action?
Sorry, I still have to do the other thing. So, Uba 22. I think all the deck saves were, yeah, those are all successes. So you're gonna take half of this.
Oh
Oh
no.
my god, snake bludgeoning damage. The most dangerous
20
damage type.
Sorry, it says Ort, but it's just because I have his token selected on accident. So you are gonna take 10 points of poison damage as the
Wait, who does?
Medea, Uba, and Sulveran, the ones who were standing next to the creature, as the poisonous blood of the creature lands on you. All right. Sulveran, you can
Very
finish your turn
nice.
now.
Andrew, just to be clear, I can't use the braces against this thing
Well,
because
no.
it's not a spell, right?
It also
Yeah.
didn't target you.
I'm just. No, the wisdom save.
Oh, yeah, it's not a spell.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for everything that targets me now, just so you know.
All right. I guess the Sulveran with the blood still sizzling on his armor and skin is going to step right here into the middle of the fracas.
Okay.
And he is going to he's just going to actually look up at presumably like whatever the ceiling of this place is. Eyes are going to go unfocused, and the blood is going to start sizzling off of his skin, and then the radiance is just going to erupt from him as he invokes Sill for a word of radiance.
Oh, that's going to be effective.
Yeah, it's a pretty, sometimes this is a useful cantrip. See if they make the save.
Word of Radiance is a bonus action?
Oh, didn't I do a bonus for my first?
I thought you just hit it in the face.
Yeah,
I did hit it. Never mind, you're
Yeah,
right.
those are both actions.
Good catch, Jack. Yeah.
Also,
I forgot. I forgot because it took so long to finish my bonus action.
If Word of
I was like-
Radiance was a bonus action, that's the best cantrip in the game.
That's pretty great.
That would be murder. Yeah. No, I forgot because it was a hefty time. All right.
Yeah, I did have a lot to do when that snake died.
there-
it might matter. Do they count as having entered my space when they came out of the big snake?
They were considered as always being there.
Okay.
Because they're
In
not.
that case,
I would say it's more like forced movement.
Even forced movement would trigger it.
Sentinel or Polar Master?
Well,
Polar Master, yeah. Just when they enter my reach, they do.
Mhm.
This is definitely DM fiat. There's probably no rules regarding this.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's because it says provoke an opportunity attack. I think it follows normal attack of opportunity rules. I'll double check that later. That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
because you have to be the person controlling your movement to provoke an attack of opportunity.
All right. So, Uba was frightened, and also
No. Will and Ort were frightened. That's
Yeah.
it.
okay.
Uba got
Will
saved.
and Ort were frightened, and Uba and Medea and me were just covered in poison.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Now everyone's just watching in the
then-
distance.
Yeah, Alveron is just watching cleverly spread apart, like he knew this was coming or something.
More like just, oh fuck no, 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 oh fuck no.
Okay, in that case, the bonus action, this is why it was nice to have used my alpenstock, is going to just be a mass. And did you said Ort got only hit by the frighten effect?
Yeah, so though Ort is missing 4 HP from forever ago that he just didn't heal.
Okay. Yeah. So Sulveran will remain where he's at
Wasn't worth the
and
spell.
instead indicate the others and cast a mass healing word.
We continue to have the best healing word game.
Yes, it is a fantastic healing word game.
Healing word. God damn you roll.
So everybody, not everybody, but those who are injured heal back 6. Negating most of the damage that you just took.
Hey, Sulveran, can you target Will?
I can target everyone who is hit because I got 6 and 60. Yeah, I can.
Great. As a reaction, I'd like to use my braces.
Has to be an attack.
What?
I'll rewrite that thing.
Andrew, this item's garbage.
It has to be like
No, it's fine.
an enemy's effect.
What do your bracers do again?
Nothing that useful. I'm just trying to I'm trying to work out how useful they are. By
I'll fix it.
actually getting a use out of them.
I had written down a thing, and yeah, I need to
It's
rewrite
okay.
it a little bit.
When I read it, I'm like, this might be useful, but like I don't know how useful, so I'm just trying to use it at all times.
All right. And for that healing word, I will say that everyone feels like, a cold snow compress. It's actually not that stingy for once. Mostly because everybody is already stinging with pain.
It's like shaking the braces, like, why didn't you do anything?
Maybe I'll change it to have it work like that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. The snakes will go. This one will skip its turn because they weren't in the initiative order. It just happened to roll very low. So it'll actually be this one's turn first. So the one in front of Sulveran is going to swarm on you. So these creatures, let me describe this a little bit better. Out from the body burst a multitude of snakes. Several swarms of snakes start to slither and crawl over the corpse of the creature and on to all of you. So this one moves into Sulveran's space because they are a swarm.
Shit.
And they're going. Yeah, and then they're going to attack you.
I said I'm on my homebrew bullshit.
Aren't they just gonna try to give me some kisses?
These are in the Monsters Manual.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
I clicked it.
Oh,
There
well,
we go.
you crit, so you pass.
Haha.
Okay. So it's actually just the 7, not both. So you're going to take 7 points of damage, and you pass your con save, so you're good. Just the 7 points of damage. You feel a multitude of the creatures. You're trying to dodge them, but there's just so many of them. Sink their fangs into you, and different poisons start to course through your veins, but you're able to resist the brunt of their effects. Uba, you are now faced with just dozens upon dozens of snakes.
Oh, geez. I think Uba's gonna try using their dagger again, all the while saying ew, ew, over and over again at the snakes.
Okay, you managed to hit. 2 hits.
Okay, so that would be 13 and 11, I think.
24.
Oh, and then your
And
Colossus Slayer,
Colossus
right?
Slayer in the second one.
Oh, yeah, let me roll a d8. Boop doo. Hooray.
Okay. You all see Uba start to cut a swath through the snakes immediately in front of her, filling 1, 2, 3, 4, going down until at least this part of the swarm is significantly thinned. This token is bloodied. Alveron, it's then your turn.
All right, I'm going to fire off a shot from my bow at this swarm right here.
Okay.
It's on media. And normal attack. And my hex will transfer to that swarm.
You guys got a lot of
Nice.
crits today. So double
We're
the
making up for
hex
loss.
and the sneak attack.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one's dead.
This one's probably gonna die, yeah.
This one just fucking explodes.
Somehow kill
Into
12
more
snakes
snakes.
with
It snakes
one
all
shot.
the way down.
Man, there's a crazy amount of crits in this one.
Yeah.
No way it survives that.
Not
I hope
actually,
not.
it's still
That's
up.
only half, right?
No.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, you get an additional 3d6
Yeah, you get
sneak
to
attack.
you double all of your dice on the crit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Even the
You get
hex
an addition-
Even the hex, yeah.
So you,
and the
I was like,
so you
that
get an
seems
additional
low.
4d. Totally, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's dead for sure.
Okay, so I just want to try to figure out the total damage of that. That's what, 16,
It was
20, 7.
45.
33. Only 35?
No, 45.
No,
It
it's
should be.
45.
45, yeah. I was gonna say that's what I'm getting. Alrighty.
So you somehow you pull back an arrow, draw, and your hex seems to have transferred onto like a swath of these creatures. They're all focused, starting to lunge at Medea, and you pull back your arrow, and it flies through several of these creatures, kind of disrupting the swarm and killing 6 of them in one arrow somehow.
You make a shish kebab of snakes.
Yeah,
That
it's like-
goes into a wall.
Like all heads too, you know.
So that one is dead.
The
However,
arrow hits the stone and shatters just right to just, hit 6.
this one is going to go,
A
and
magic
it's going
bullet
to
theory.
swarm onto Uba.
No. Oh, that's lots of dice.
Okay, I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh.
Oof.
Still
Oh,
good.
would it take an opportunity attack from me?
Yeah, sure. It does technically move out of your.
Does that hit?
Yes, it does. 14 points of damage. Thankfully, not enough, or thankfully, unthankfully, not enough to affect its damage. So you're only going to take 7 points of piercing damage because you succeeded against the poison save,
Okay.
which is good because that would have been bad for you guys. Okay, Port is then going to go. He's going to snakes! God damn it! Die! In the name of
Isn't he
Cordal.
frightened?
Oh, that's right.
In the
He
name of
says
Cordal, I
as
run in the
he
other direction.
runs in the other direction.
Oh my god.
25. Ah!
You don't have to run away, you just can't move towards them.
Or it runs away.
Or chooses to run because
Yeah.
of the kobold racial phobia of snakes.
Sorry. Medea, it's on your turn.
Just gonna walk up to the one that's on Uba and take some attacks on him. Does that kill it?
You're taking the one on Uba?
Yes.
Okay.
Or does the first one do enough?
No, you need both.
Okay.
You do, however, manage to kind of sweeping your spear back and forth, knock all of them off and stabbing them onto the ground, killing the ones that have attacked Uba.
And then I will use my bonus action on the one that is next to me as well.
That unfortunately
Is crying
misses.
and thankful.
So your last hit, you go
Medea
to smack the remaining couple, but they slither out of the way.
Medea's just staring at Uba with like the face of like sympathy, you know, as they cut down the ones on them.
Right. Now one's dead. Will, you are let me make Ord have his save as well. Ord's no longer frightened. Will, it is your turn.
I will use my turn to think about what's going on with this tent.
Guys,
I don't really have anything else to do in this fight.
do you not have any attack cantrips?
Yeah, I can viciously mock a swarm of snakes.
I mean, it
I
would help.
I mean, that's a choice.
That gives
Hey,
disadvantage on
you
attacks.
little-
doesn't it?
Scaly guys.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just cutting words attacks that are close.
Fair.
I just don't think that Will could justify insulting snakes to deal damage. For Will, it's a more visceral thing than that. So I'm gonna, I guess, use my turn to. Can I use my turn to make a religion roll to see if this temple has been repurposed to be a temple of Shinnok?
Yeah, it's Shinnik with an I.
Shinnok?
Yeah.
I wrote it down wrong and I thought it was a Mortal Kombat character.
No, I don't like Mortal Kombat. Well, I've only ever played the first one.
Wow.
I'm not like a big fighting game person.
Will doesn't know anything. I will Bardic Inspiration Uber. Be like, Uber, there's snakes and point out 4 snakes on Uber's body. To give you
So
hope.
hopeful, though.
Thanks.
This fight is going fine. Like, you don't need more help from me.
Sulveran.
Also, I'm frightened, so I can't really
make your save as well.
move closer. Wisdom.
Was that make the save to Will? Yeah, okay.
Still a failure, unfortunately.
Fine.
Yes, and now it's Sulveran's turn.
All right. And so there's just the one up, right?
No, there's 2. There's the one literally crawling over your body, and then one in front of you.
Okay, so the one crawling over my body is like invisible now. Is Sulveran
it looks
able
like it's
to
on
still?
top for me because
Oh yeah.
I have the way the tokens work.
Is Sulveran still able to move with one crawling on his body? Can he like carry it with him? Like, I'm not asking can he get away. I'm just asking.
It's technically just
Can
in
he
your
carry it with him?
space.
Okay. So, if he moves, does it spur an attack of opportunity, or does the snake just go with him? Is my question.
Depends on where you want to move to.
He would just be moving 5 feet away, right into the spot here.
No, it's just on you for effect. So that would not trigger attack of opportunity.
All right. Then in that case, at this point, he does his badass blood cooking off of his flesh with his Word of Radiance move. Maybe if Foundry ever catches up with me.
You're just too fast for the internet.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it. So it's a con 16.
Okay. Super suck. Alright. Well, one of the swarms seems to be seems to be injured by this, but however, so one of the snakes dies. But the one remaining snake in that swarm, since it's got almost no HP left, is still alive. The other ones, however, are unaffected by this. They manage to keep on going. They're at full strength, reinforcing one another. They don't take any damage.
They're emotionally supporting each other.
And physically.
Yes. All right. How are the rest of y'all looking? Terrible or mostly okay still?
He is fine.
Uba was hit, but not too bad. Like, not even close to bloodied.
Okay. Yeah. Then in that case, Sulveran is just going to hang out, not yet using his bonus action. Actually, could he use his bonus action to make a quick sweep looking visually around the room to see if there's anything else encroaching? And he's especially looking at that pool of water.
You can make a quick glance around and make a perception check. You'll be at disadvantage because you're in a fight.
I've clicked it. We'll see how long.
Yeah. You roll.
He sees nothing except snake blood.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. You're just covered in snakes. You're too worried about that. This one snake out of this swarm still hanging on is going to make a lunge at Sulveran. Missing you. And these poison rolls are great too. So we're going to come back to the top. The fresh one is also going to attack Sulveran.
That would have been brutal though, if that had hit. That would have almost taken me down.
What's your 19? Damn. Okay. No, you're good. Still missing you. Thanks to your shield and everything. A torrent of them launch themselves at you as you bat them away with your shield. protected by the symbol of Mordain. It's then going to be Uba's turn.
Okay, I think so. There's one of these
One
snakes is
here.
on Sulveran.
Sulveran moved away, and then one here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if the snakes came along for the ride, but Uba's gonna attack the one that's like right in front of them.
Okay.
Uh,
Stabbing down into stone. Second one, however, hits, and that you don't have to roll
okay,
the
let me
rest.
do.
It's got 1 HP.
Oh, okay.
You kill the remaining snake, cutting off its head. All right, so that one's dead.
I'm imagining Uba's warbling scream finally petering out.
There's still a few snakes left near Sulveran, so there's probably still a little yelling left.
Some yelping. All right. Any movement?
No, I think Uba's just gonna stay where they are.
Okay. Alveron.
Yep. Should probably be no surprise, but I'll use my bonus action to move my Hex over to this one now. And then take my sneak attack on this writhing mass of bad news.
Oh yeah,
I was really
that
hoping
hits.
for another 20 there.
Close.
I admit it. All right.
Nice.
17.
Shish kebabbing another several snakes as your arrow flies through. This creature is now bloodied as well. Ort, now free of his frightened effect, is going to move up to Alveron.
Still screaming for Cordal.
For Cordal! He's just gonna cast Sacred Flame again, since the fight is kind of winding down. Use a spell if he doesn't have to. Super dexterous snakes just scatter, prepared for his Sacred Flame. Probably not going to matter in a second, though, because it's Medea's turn.
You'll never guess what action he is taking.
I mean, you could miss 3 times. It's statistically possible.
That's true.
No. Okay.
I don't miss 3 times.
The first hit kills them.
Just beheads all of them at once.
Only like 3 left.
Yeah.
You all now stand amidst a thicket of dead snakes. Dozens of them
Good
lie
eject.
just scattered about the floor here. Some blood trickling down as the waters here start to become run red with blood. We are out of combat.
Hooray.
Sulveran's just picking snake flesh out of the many crevices of his bone armor, flicking it away into the water.
Will shakes off the fear and kind of murmurs to Keller, like, I really don't like snakes. I guess while everybody else is composing themselves more than Will has to, can I look around to see if they had a giant snake guarding this like temple, there must be something interesting in it. Can I make like a investigation check to go around and see if I can find anything hidden in this area specifically?
If you're fine with it, I'll give advantage to.
Sure. Shit.
You begin to look about this status. This larger statue catches your eye. You had kind of looked at it previously briefly, but we're more studying it for its arcane religious significance, not necessarily looking for hidden secrets or alcoves, anything like that. You notice now the pool that the snake seems to be kind of feeding out of. The snake's head, where it kind of touches that, seems movable, like you could lift up its jaw to open the mouth.
Ooh.
I will do that.
Okay.
Will you warn us at all before you do so?
No, Will's just
Do I
walked
think it
over.
looks like a trap? Do I think it looks like a trap from that investigation roll?
It could be a trap. It's definitely movable.
All right, then I will. If it could be a trap, then I will. Like gesture to get Alveron's attention.
Okay. You have it.
The jaw of this snake moves, but it looks like it could be a trap. That snake wouldn't be here to just protect the rest of the time. You'd have the protection where it was important.
Alright, traps are not exactly my forte, but
Oh, if you
I
lend
do
me your
have
thieves
proficiency
tools.
with. Yeah, I was gonna say I do have proficiency with them, but if you feel more confident with this, go for it.
So, mechanically, with the Gloves of Thievery, we both have, like, we have +5 to the roll on top of your proficiency, and I'm not proficient. But
Oh,
Will
okay.
is always willing to try something with Jack of all trades.
Alveron
like,
is
in fiction,
significantly better.
Yeah, if
Okay.
Alveron doesn't want to do it because it's, like, not in his wheelhouse, Will always try.
I mean, I'm used to, like, for me, thieves' tools. I'm not as familiar with them as I am with navigators' tools narratively, but for sure, like, it's something I've picked locks, I've unscrambled key codes, and
Oh,
played around with this. So
Will-
I'm more than willing to do it. Do the gloves of thievery require attunement?
No.
You've also
They're
had
just the
them for a
best
long
item in the
time,
game.
so
So Will point out the points that might be trapped, like that hinge on the jaw. Maybe there's something in there, and I'll give you bardic inspiration to help you out on top of everything else.
Gotcha. So then, Andrew, for this, since it's just kind of a thieves' tools proficiency roll, do I just roll like a dex roll and then add the, like, how does the roll with this work with just a tools proficiency?
you can go into your inventory and roll the thieves' tools, and
They
I've
will
added
actually. Oh,
I've added the +5 as well, so that should output correctly.
Gotcha. All right. And then
Which you're gonna need.
I will add that D4. Is that what it
D8.
is?
It's a D8.
My apologies. She leveled up.
Seem to have added proficiency.
Yeah, and it's missing a bit as well.
Yeah, it's missing a +3 in there, so it's 15, 18.
Okay,
It's weird.
we'll
It
go
says
with
you're
that.
proficient.
It's definitely missing something in there.
I'm just gonna do a quick test roll. I fixed it. No,
You didn't.
weird.
Oh.
It says proficient right here.
It does. It does say proficient, but
No, we'll tinker with it later. I could just do
Okay.
8s for the tool bonus, and that would be the same. But we'll have to remember to fix it later. Regardless,
18 is the total there.
Yep. You begin to investigate, looking about pulling out your bag, looking at the stonework. You do see there is a spot you think that, unless you were to hold down one of the eyes of the creature as you were lifting open its mouth, some kind of mechanism is triggered to spray something out at you. You kind of very delicately press down, straining, open up the serpent's mouth, wherein you see a large crystal ball, about the size of a baseball, glowing, kind of shifting colors. When you first pick it up, it seems green, and then goes to red, yellow, back to green, just kind of shifting around.
Kind of looking at it, make a show of, holding it up to Will as well to see. And then, Will, I'm thinking to myself about, I need to get a priest for this. And I'm like, wait, Will probably knows what the hell this is. And just kind of, I'm still going to be holding one of the mechanisms. And then just with kind of my left hand, just holding it out to you and looking at you like,
Yeah. Will is further away than you remember when you started doing it.
Yep.
Just for safety, but steps back over and grabs the.
As I notice how far away you are, I'm like, don't worry, I disabled the poison.
Will says, I saw. It was good. I learned a few things. Yeah, I'll take the crystal ball and make either a religion or arcana check. You just have. Do you have to hold that forever now?
I'm still depressing the eye, just looking at him like, I'm not sure.
Go ahead and make whatever roll you want to make.
Before Will does that, I'll do a quick tinkering of some metal together that we can wedge in there to just keep it depressed so that Alveron doesn't get poison sprayed on.
Okay.
Intelligence or dexterity for the Tinker's tools?
Intelligence. I think it's a bit of metal.
And I will just
wedge it right.
roll. I'm just going to roll investigation.
Okay. Good deal.
20. So I assume that's fine.
It's
just 2 pieces of. It's like 2 pieces of metal bent. And just put this in there.
You just kind of definitely rig something together, wedge something in the eye, so make sure it's not, Alveron slowly releases the pressure, just so you make sure it's stuck in there good.
Ooh.
29.
And then it's a 29.
You're looking at it. It's not full bright, say a light bulb or something like that. It's almost clear, almost like whatever is making the light, you can kind of see through the crystal into it, and it's swirling around, kind of rotating, revolving, while it changes color. You've read about something like this before. These kind of items can be used as keys. They can be used to, when placed in whatever proper position, a sconce or something like that. They can be used to activate certain, enchantments, mechanisms. They can equally be used to deactivate those same things. You don't think, as you kind of glance back at the open snake mouth, that it was being used as a key here. You think it was being stored there. There's nothing else about the snake's mouth, from what your knowledge of how this item works, that suggests that it was, keeping something activated or deactivated. There's no runes in the snake's mouth. There's nothing like that. It would be very, very unlikely to your eyes for it to be doing something like that. You think it was simply hidden here. Some people call these Keystone Crystals. Is probably the most common term that you've seen for such items. This one's fairly large, and you think it must power a pretty powerful magical effect, or otherwise activate very large mechanisms.
Very interesting. I think Will kind of walks back down, waiting for Alveron to walk with her, and we'll explain to everyone and say, "We found this keystone." And she holds it up. It's
Before you do that, I'm assuming that took a little while, right?
Yeah.
That whole process?
5-10 minutes, maybe.
Okay. While that was going on, I figure for narrative flow, it might be better if so Sulveran would have called Uba over to where he's still standing in a thicket of snakes. Uba
says, yeah.
He is going to kneel down in the thicket of snakes, squishing a little bit as he goes, and he's going to gesture them over. Fear has many uses, and you conquered your fear well. Another way to engage with it is understand it. Would you like to see if there's anything that we can gather from this mess? And he is particularly interested, just kind of like what they did with the Varrock, in seeing if there's any bits that he can store away for the opposite of medicinal purposes with his herbalism kit.
Okay.
I think Uba is going to. They have their dagger out and are just kind of like flicking some of the dead snakes away to make like a spot for them to stand, and then they'll give. I don't know if it would be better to give Sulveran advantage on a nature check or to each do our own.
It's up to you guys.
I think,
Sylvain would be making a herbalism kit check.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
from Sulveran's perspective, he is going into this as like equals with Uba. So like once he has described what he's doing, he's going to ask what Uba knows about creatures like this and the harvesting and skinning of them, that kind of thing.
Okay. So Uba's gonna do a nature check then.
Okay. Yeah, you two can make your check.
Ta-da.
18, pretty good.
Hold on, it's I can't click into my attributes tab. Okay. There we go.
While you're doing that, Uba, you begin to kind of examine the properties, thinking about when you were bit. Most of the snakes here seem to have, a weak common snake, weak quote unquote, but a common snake poison. Not a lot of lingering effects, but a good bite that affects you can do quite a bit of damage. And you could collect such things by, kind of squeezing the venom out of the fangs. You got to be very careful to not nick yourself, but you can kind of squeeze them out. 12. Okay. And Sulveran, you know that these are kind of anticoagulants designed to, make it hard for the bleeding to stop, to travel up the body, make it so that your blood doesn't pump properly, etc. The larger creature, however, seems to have a more particular kind of poison. Uba, you've never quite seen this exactly before, but upon examining it, looking about it, you think it would have some kind of stunning effect on a creature that was hit by it, and maybe even something else. Sulveran, it's pretty easy for you to collect the smaller snake venom, so you could take a couple of ampules if you like. The larger creature, burst as it is, you have trouble actually collecting its venom. And you aren't able to salvage any of use.
All right. So 2 ampules of venom from the smaller snakes.
Snake venom.
Yeah, he's going to take one and seal it and tuck that away, and the other he's going to hand to Uba. Perhaps examine it a bit further, or perhaps put it to good use. And he nods at their dagger.
Uba takes it like very cautiously and is definitely grossed out, but says, "This could be useful," and is kind of thinking about using it on their arrows or on their dagger.
All right, now I'm assuming we look up, all covered in snake guts, to see Will.
Yes, and I think that Uba's eyes are gonna get like huge when they see the crystal. Like they're like a cat that sees a laser or something. They're just like, "Oh, it's a shiny thing."
While they're doing this, can I use my blind sight to try and see if I can find any imperfections or dips or like specific changes in the fountains? Sort of closing the eyes and using that natural sight to look through.
To what end? Like, you want to try to find an outlet,
See,
or
see if there's like a mechanism or an outlet or like a press S, something that's like dipped or changed compared to the rest of the structure. Basically, just investigating and looking for anything unusual.
okay? What do you want? You want to try to find like where this water drains to? You're just looking for unusual things.
Yeah, just looking for an unusual, like
Okay.
seeing if there's any hidden mechanism in it or something.
Sure. Make an investigation check.
Nine.
You splash about in the water for a little bit, finding that they seem to be fountains. You can't find any. There are certainly divots, and it's not a perfectly made fountain. It's worn by time and other such things, so it's not worn perfectly uniformly. You don't find any. You find drains, culverts where it seems to flow out of, but there's not really anything unusual about these. It just seems to be the water moving its natural courses. You do think with a 9 that the water's not really pumped in. It probably just drains in from the river, flows through here, and then drains back out, probably back into the oasis.
Yeah. Okay.
The other two begin to approach Will carrying this Keystone Crystal.
I found this keystone. It's like a orb that's a key to some kind of magical activation ability. Could open a magical door. Could set off the end of humanity as we know it. Something between those two things, probably. I don't know if it's for here or somewhere else.
Is there any? I'm just kind of looking at Will because I still don't understand how y'all's whole magic thing works. Just like, can't you, find? I mean, don't the energies like? I mean, can't you point it? And I mean, compasses work, right? Like compasses tell you what direction to go. Like this, shouldn't this help you find the lock?
Will has learned that things that she thinks are nonsense, like placating a bunch of vegapygmies with music, sometimes works. So she'll hold it in one hand, like she's palm. Well, I guess it's a baseball size. Like, so she's holding it out and just spin around and see if it stops anywhere.
Doesn't seem to.
Like,
damn it! I was like,
I don't think
so ready to be amazed if something actually happened.
I
Thanks
don't
for
think
committing
it
to the
works that
bit.
way. Well, Will has had an experience before of thinking that something wouldn't work and then it did work. So, it's not really that simple. I think if I was a more competent spellcaster, and she kind of looks at Orb, maybe I could cast a spell to find some kind of link between this and something else. Maybe if I could cast Legend Lore on this keystone. I can't.
I can't do that. Sorry.
Would having more time to investigate it help?
Investigate the orb?
And the temple, see if it connects to anything?
Sure. This key may be for use in this temple. I am not sure that we want to stay around in a temple to a god that is what this one might be. I don't think this is a temple of Sill anymore.
I mean, it was hidden in the serpent's mouth. It's probably connected to something here, but Will, you also raise a good point. And I look over at media. Does it smell evil?
I will divine sense. I will divine sense the ball.
The ball.
And also the temple, I guess. Is the temple desecrated?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Temple's definitely
it's hallowed,
desecrated.
but to evil.
Yeah.
The ball does not. The ball smells of magic, but not of any particular flavor. It's just of the arcane.
He just shrugs his shoulders and says, "It's vanilla."
Is the
But
he's gonna
vanilla
turn to
is not neutral, though. Hold up.
Yeah, vanilla's definitely a good flavor.
Yeah.
It is neutral. There's no strong morality.
It's
Kind
It's a Tide Pod.
Sulveran's gonna turn to Uba and kind of gesture at the statue. They said they found it in the snake's mouth. Is that snake original to this statue, or is it?
Good
question.
I think Uba's gonna kind of shrug, like, I don't know. I've never been in a Temple of Sil before, but Uba will try and roll to figure that out. I don't know what roll that would be.
You were the one that noticed in
Yeah,
the
I think
first place.
Oh, would I get it
You
for
already
free?
did that roll.
You guys
Yeah,
have.
Sulveran's just assuming
I
you
think
noticed this weirdness to begin with, so you have the knowledge.
a couple of people have made rolls about like stuff like that. The snake does not appear to be original to the statue. It appears to be an addition, a later addition, a much later addition. Actually, you think the snake took a while to carve.
Okay. Yeah, so Uba will point that out, maybe point out a difference in like stonework or something. But then they're also gonna say, well, I think it seems quite simple really. If we want to find where this goes, it's circular shaped. We just look for a circular shaped spot. And I think they're gonna start wandering off on a mission to look for
Oh,
where
no.
this goes.
Ooh, it's
Oh, Lord.
protagonisting again.
I think if
How
I
many-
was
Marth
going to
gets a
leave,
protagonist haircut, and all of a sudden,
I think if I was going to leave a key to something important to my desecration of a place, I would probably separate the key from what it unlocks.
that's
I
a
think
fair point.
if I was to hide a key that was the secret to the desecration of a temple of a powerful god, I would protect the key and I'd protect the keyhole with a guardian. So if we want to go looking around this temple, I'm happy to do that, but I think there's definitely a chance that there's something else that we'll need to fight through. How many
How,
doors are there in this room anyway, Andrew?
Good point.
That are
There's
not caved in. You said some are caved in, right?
just like the doors are smashed down. 6.
How deep is the
Other
water,
than the
by the
like
way?
exits to the whole building. How deep is the what?
The water.
It varies.
Like, because I know the serpent went down into it.
The channels are about 4 feet deep or so. Thereabouts. The little pools are pretty similar. Right where Medea is, it's probably closer to 6 feet. But Medea, you're kind of waiting a little bit. Like they're decently deep for what they are.
Hmm.
6 feet. If it's 6 feet, Medea is in plate mail underwater.
It's fine.
We look to see Medea. Medea's drowning.
Gargling.
Can't get out of the water. Well, there's 6 doors. It's probably going to take, let's say, for pleasantness, an hour to check. 10 minutes a door. We can do it, but the demon's probably nowhere here. And if we activate this, and we'll like hold up the orb, almost certainly somebody will know we're here.
I think Uba's gonna pipe up and say, alternatively, we could get a good night's sleep and try again tomorrow.
I'm worried about coming back to this area after today. But we should have a break while we think about this.
Sure.
Yeah, I
I
think
was
it would
gonna
be good
suggest it if you guys were
just
gonna
in
leave.
here. There's be something I can. Maybe we can take some time to think this through in a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The characters take a few minutes to get through while we have a break. You guys want 15 minutes? Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
that'd be good.
All right. See you all in just about 15 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing session number 16. All right. So,
If we label the doors in this room, where the first one on the left side, the southernmost door on the left side is number 1, then up that wall is 2 and 3, and then 4, 5, 6 on the other wall. Is that how the walls are laid out? The doors are laid out? There's 3 on each wall.
yeah, technically.
All right.
On the second floor, though, right?
On the ground floor.
First floor.
Okay.
All right. Then I think we should go to door 6 first. The right lowest door first. Will starts heading in that direction.
Sounds good.
So like
to me.
down here.
Yeah. You
All right.
kind of cross back across the fountains areas, heading over towards the doorway. Finding an empty doorway, wood splinters kind of laying about in this open entryway. There's a small hallway leading down where there are 2 rooms. I'm just going to quickly describe this. They seem to have been bedrooms. Looking into one, you find a bed, what remains of a bed, some sheets, linens, a dresser which has been with no doors anymore. You can see where the wood splinters where the doors have been thrown onto the ground. A footlocker which has been thrown open and appears to be empty, and much the same in the other room. If you want to take a thorough look, really look around, investigate, you can roll me investigation for the 2 rooms.
Oh,
Medea would definitely be helping us.
are we just going to use Uber's investigation?
I thought it was all of whoever wanted to make one.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Okay, great.
I mean, you can.
You're so good at investigation.
One of you could choose to give the other advantage, but it's open floor.
Medea did say that they were giving advantage, so I'll take advantage. And roll worse. No, better. I'm so good at investigation.
Finally,
Will watched
helping
Uber. Will watched Uber and was like, that's actually pretty good. Let me try. And Medea helped Will just be like the best investigator.
Looking about the room, you are kind of glancing here and there. It's just smaller rooms, fairly empty. Uba, in one of them, you spy some writing on one of the bedposts. Seems to be a name. Reladin. 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 Perhaps the person who owned this bed way back when. Hard to say. But as you look at this, you are looking over in that area. You do see a little fault, imperfection in the brickwork, kind of behind the shattered remnants of the headboard of this bed. Reaching your taloned fingers down that way, you kind of pull out the stonework slightly, revealing a small hiding cubby. Not like it was really put in here professionally, more like somebody carved out the grout work and broke the brick in half so that they could have a little hidey space where they could put stuff behind. Reaching in, you pull out a small bag. You open it up, it contains some coinage, about 8 electrum pieces, and 1 fine silver ring with a ruby embedded in it. There's writing in Elvish on the band. Uba cannot read it.
I think Uba's gonna struggle really hard for a moment with trying to just pocket the Electrum, but then decides to bring the whole haul out to the group and present what they found. So they'll say, I found some money and I found this, and they're gonna like wave the ring around.
Is it in Celesteri?
No,
It's
it's
in
in
Elvish, I
Elvish.
think. Yeah.
Okay.
Is Elvish different to Elkaran?
I more meant that the script was in Elvish, so Uba would have no idea what form of Elvish it was.
Okay.
It does appear to be written in a very archaic form of Elkaran, almost
Well,
like
that does make
ancient,
sense given where we are.
almost like ancient Elvish. However, it's a fairly simple phrase. So between Will and Medea, or obviously can also read Elkaran, you can kind of piece together. It says, to Isandra, my love.
Oh.
Will's not interested in it, but like we'll just give it to Medea if Medea wants to look at it further. Wait, I'll make an Arcana check, just in case there's runes hidden in the Elvish. Yeah, Will's not interested in it.
Medea will ask if Uba could put this back to where he found it. Just the letter.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Medea will ask if Uba could put it back where he found it. Just the little note.
The ring?
It's not a note.
Yeah, the ring.
It was an
sorry.
inscription
it's
on
an
a ring.
inscription on a ring.
Yeah, if Uba could just put it back. Like they'll explain it seems to have just been a message to someone.
Okay. I think that Uba will give the money to Will to dole
think-
out because they're like, if I
Just Medea, I think you're intelligent enough to recognize this is probably an engagement ring.
Will's not intelligent enough to recognize an engagement ring.
I think that Jack figured that out. I didn't say it.
Okay, sure. Just so. Yes, I did. But yeah, will dole out. Did you say there's 8 Electrum?
Yes, that's correct.
yeah.
Yes, I'll dole out 8 Electrum to the 6 of us.
Okay.
7. I'll give Kalandra 1.
Okay. And then Uba is going to pretend like they're putting the ring back, but because they have grubby fingers when it comes to shiny things, they're gonna actually pocket it.
Okay, make a.
Can I say that? Can Will be following to give the last Electrum to Uba since Uba found it?
Sure, Uba, make a sleight of hand check. I think you're all kind of in this room, so. Okay. Wow.
I wanted to see it to show that Will didn't care, but like, I'm happy to
Can
waste these 2 rolls.
I make a perception check as well since we're all in the room?
Sure. I was just gonna run off of passives, but that works too.
Oh geez, what happens then when we're tied?
Oh, I think you still pocket it. Yes.
I will say that higher die roll wins, so seems just about as fair as you. Otherwise, I would do bonus, but I guess Uba's bonus wins. So we'll say Uba wins in this regard.
Okay.
So Medea, they take a little bit longer. You're like, but you don't seem to notice them furtively pocket the ring as they go to put the stone back.
Nice.
In the other room, Will, you notice a stone tile which is slightly off. Most of you don't really think anything of it. Maybe it just happened in whatever storming of this temple took place. But as you kind of lift it up, you think that it did break probably in the fighting, but whoever ransacked this room didn't seem to notice that it broke because it had been loosened many times, like somebody had been lifting up and moving it. You set aside the tile to find a smaller Chest is too generous, almost like a jewelry box placed down in there. It does appear to be locked.
Oh, I'll ask to borrow Alveron's thieves' tool so I can practice on this rudimentary jewelry box.
I'll hand them over
Alveron, can
and the gloves. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I bought us both a pair. Like, Will just like pulls at her palm and there's like an invisible fabric. Because they're invisible. Sure, I will attempt to pick the lock.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm just kind of standing guard at the door and standing at the ready. Ooh.
You just rolled 3 ones in a
I
row.
don't want anybody to look at this ever again. That's a 9 with the gloves of it.
This is now the beanie of shame, Jack.
You
Yeah,
go.
well, it's not mine.
I think it was already the beanie of shame.
3 nat ones in a row is truly. I think this is the first time Will has just not done well on things in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that doesn't matter, fortunately. So,
You go to pick these locks. You're like aided. You're trusting so much in the gloves. You're not really thinking about what you're doing. You're like, the magic will aid me. And you go to turn it, and you hear. You're like afraid of bending it again, that the locks might break. You think you have jacked up this keyhole. You slowly pull out the lockpicks, look at them. They seem okay, but you do not think you can unlock pick this anymore. You think we will have to bash it open somehow in order to get inside.
alright, well, I'll hand the lockpicks back to Alveron and then like pick up the box and just slam it against the ground as hard as I can.
Make an athletics check.
I love the thought of just being over like, so how did it? Oh,
You
Is the
lift
door
up,
hinged?
and it kind of hits the stonework. Pretty intact. It's pretty solid, actually.
It's a pretty good box. Will like picks it up, hands it to Alveron and says, "I broke the lock," and then
I
walks out
take
of the
a
room.
look at it. Does it look like I could mess with that lock at all, or does it look like it's pretty well foobarred shut?
Yeah, it seems you kind of like peer inside, maybe poke in a little bit. The tumblers are just like crushed together. Like, you do not think you could turn this. You don't think it's turnable is the problem. Maybe if you
Okay,
if you spent
over.
like a significant amount of time to like fix the lock, but it would not be a quick process.
Gotcha. In that case, I'll just kind of look for someone strunk. Just be like, Medea,
Yes.
the lock is broken on this. You wouldn't happen to you wouldn't be willing to crack it like a chestnut?
I would be willing. I would
I think
gladly
Uba
be
is
willing.
actually the best at this.
I mistook height for mightiness. I apologize, Uba.
You are of
I am
equal
proficient in
athletics
athletics, to be fair.
to Medea. Medea doesn't have proficiency in athletics, that's why.
Next time I'm going to open the box with acrobatics and we'll see how everybody else does.
Does
What we
the
should have done was taken it to the priest of Cordal.
does the box have hinges?
It doesn't have like metallic hinges. It's more meant to like pop off.
I'll look to Ort and ask if they have any way to reshape the metal of the lock. Or if they could just straight up, like, given enough time, essentially, like, mechanically force the lock turn. By, like, pressuring the internal cylinder.
Can we not just take
Um,
this box with us?
I can, if you want to spend some time, I can mend the lock. I should be able to do that, but it might take a while. Like,
How long is a while?
it depends on how many times I have to cast the spell.
How much does this box weigh? Like,
85.
is it something that they've been tossing around pretty easily?
Yeah, it's like it's like a jewelry box. 5 pounds probably between all the the wood, the metal, the whatever is inside it seems to slide around. You can kind of hear jangling.
I think Sulveran is just going to like reach past all of them and just pluck it out of their hands and just go to put it in his pack.
It is very similar to this box that I have. It's not big.
Oh, does it have screws on it at all to attach the front face?
It's not the same box. It's just similarly sized.
Okay, yeah. Does it look to be... Could I make like an intelligence check to see if you could literally just pull the lock face off? Given enough force?
I don't think you need a check. You certainly could do that if you had you would need probably like some kind of tool. There's not a very good way to grip it.
Like a
Sulveran
pry?
can probably see that
But,
Medea is still
yeah.
thinking about it, and he's gonna just shove it in his bag very deliberately and just like start steering them out that
If you had
way.
if you had like pliers, which probably Will does, you could like, given enough effort, probably pry the lock off. It might be easier than physically breaking the thing, but
Would that count for Tinker's tools?
I would have it be an athletics check still. I would make the DC
The Tinker's
easier.
tools are what the pliers are, right?
Yeah.
Medea
Yeah.
will ask out loud, does anybody have a pair of pliers or a gripping tool?
Uba says, "Ooh, I do," and presents their Tinker's tools, while also suggesting that it might be more fun to just throw the jewelry box off the top floor of the building. But we'll
This
hand
will
over the
probably-
Tinker's tools to you.
This would probably be a bit easier. Silver, could you hand over the box?
Sulveran is just going to stare at all of them and very begrudgingly pass the box back. Aren't we urgently trying to find the key and then leave?
The key could very well, at least this could be part of the puzzle. Have something to do with it.
Will laughs out loud and says, "We're just wasting time. We can open the box literally whenever. But feel free." And we'll watch.
Medea will pull out the pliers and attempt to just pull the lock face off.
Good man.
Sulveran is going to post up at the door, keeping a lookout.
Make an athletics check.
Uba's
Okay.
going to join you, looking very stoic at the door.
21.
Sulveran gives Uba a small, like, approving nod that they've overcome their goblin tendencies to do what he approves of.
You kind of, it's not easy to, like, even with the pliers, it's not really a good grip on the lock face, but you kind of get one in the keyhole, which already broken, so whatever. Jam it in there, kind of try to get as good a leverage on it as you can. Hold it shut, and then hold it like in the crook of your arm almost, so that you've got like your hand here. It's like braced against your chest, and just start to like pull. Give it a couple of tugs. It's on there, like it's not shoddily made or anything. And at the fifth one, you kind of feel the whole thing just pull with you. Bits of the wood are stuck to the lock face. This is not a usable lockbox anymore. You have broken the lockbox. You could not, maybe given 3 or 4 hours of Ort casting mending, he might be able to fix this. But other than that, this thing is trashed. Popping it open, it's fairly nice. There's some velvet lining. The box itself probably is worth some money, or it was at one point. Inside, and probably as you ripped it off as well, some of the stuff went kind of jangling onto the floor. There's a number of silver bracelets, 4 of them to be exact. About the same size. They seem like probably like they would go on one arm and progressively up the arm. So each one's a little bit bigger than the last as you kind of put them in order. But they're all pretty nice, like nice silver jewelry. You find a small letter that has been opened already. It had a wax seal on it, but it's since been like written in Elkaran, ancient Elkaran. And you find a small pouch full of gems in it. They are little pieces of onyx.
Okay. I'll take a quick glance at the letter to see the subject matter, but not read it fully.
You take a quick glance at it. It's again pretty hard for you to read because you know some Elkaran, but not a lot. This is like very old. It seems to be a personal letter, you think, but you can't be sure. It's like you're reading like every fifth word or so. So it's like,
yeah.
I think they're talking about like they seem to be like greeting each other, maybe catching up. You think, but some of the more, there are certainly words you don't recognize, and some of them are like long words. So it's like that could be important, but I'm not sure what it's supposed to be.
I'll pocket the letter for later and hand the.
You can easily tell that the letter, you actually think is addressed to a dwarf based on at least their name. It seems to be addressed to one Keldor.
Keep that in mind.
The letter in Dwarfish?
No, the letter is in Elkaran.
Oh, okay.
It's an incoming letter, though. Sorry, so it's not addressed to Keldor. It's from Keldor addressed to whoever the owner of this box was, presumably, whose name, at least according to the letter, is Lamin. So that might be a shorter form, which is pretty common with Elkar.
I will pocket the letter and hand the onyx and rings to Sulveran to carry for later.
Sulveran will just tuck it away, and he's already walking to find the next room.
So where did the box tell us to go for the key?
Oh, told us to go to the next doorway. You wouldn't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
Sulveran heads up
roll
to doorway 5.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll roll to rise hard enough to have a headache.
I
would like to take some psychic damage from
Are you guys just gonna loop around this way? Like, basically,
I was going to
are you gonna
roll
keep
every
going?
time, but I think Will has checked out on like this and is happy to let Sulveran lead to the next door.
Sulveran just went to the closest door and entered that.
Is Sulveran just gonna keep doing that until you find something interesting or run out of doors?
Pretty much.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
can just narrate quicker in that.
Yeah, very straightforward.
You go to the next door. It
Well,
appears to be the kitchens. There's no food, although there is some very, very old, dirty, sometimes rusted-looking cookware. Probably not even really usable.
Is there any old charcoal?
Yeah, there's probably some, not a lot.
Can I pick up all of that charcoal?
Sure. You have something you put it in?
50 gold worth?
No.
Yeah, bag of holding.
Not nearly enough. You're just gonna throw it in the bag of holding? Okay.
Wait. I'll give it to Uber and then tell Uber I'll buy it off them for 50 gold.
It's not how it works.
It seems really just like arbitrary that it doesn't work that way, but fine. Yeah, I'll just collect it and put it in the bag of holding.
all right, so we don't see anything particularly useful off the bat.
What spell is that for, by the way?
I can't hear you.
I'm familiar.
Okay. Oh, the charcoal's like a very small. You would need a lot of charcoal to get 50 gold worth. That's like the smallest thing in that spell.
You gotta start collecting somewhere, Andrew, and I didn't buy incense. So
It's only 10 gold of charcoal.
It's
I wanna
charcoal,
cost it 5
incense, and
times.
herbs. 10 gold of charcoal is like
Okay.
A lot of charcoal.
50 pounds or something
I will-
insane.
I will cast it using the components that I wish to cast it with, Andrew.
Okay. Yeah, this is like you can have like a silver's worth of charcoal here that you've just scrounged up from this ancient kitchen.
Great, I'll take it. Thanks.
Got your start. You're getting there. Okay. Moving on to there is a back entrance out of this place, but it seems to just lead out again, kind of into a small, it's like a side entrance where they would probably deliver the food rather than going into the front doors. Peek outside, close it again. Moving on to the next one, you find a small, like a resting area clinic. You don't think people would live here. It's more like it's almost like barrack style. There's some sheets and wood that used to be bed. It's all been overthrown. You don't think that somebody lived here permanently, so you kind of suspect there's not that much of interest here. Although you all give it a good, look about with your various passives, which I do keep in mind because you do have a passive investigation. The highest being Medea's, I believe. No, the highest being Will's. But
What being willed?
passive investigation.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But neither of you really see anything of note in this particular room. Moving on, there is a study. The symbols here are mostly dedicated to Sill. It seems like maybe a head priest room, something like that. There's another door here also leading to a bedroom. This one a bit nicer, a little bit more accoutrement, but there is the same thing. It's been overturned, stuff has been shattered. Will you think that at one point there was probably a moon symbol on the wall, just based off of like scuff marks and stuff like that? But where it is now, you could say it's clearly been removed, though. It may have been worth something and the demons took it. But you do think to give a good look in this room, so anybody who wants to can roll me an investigation. You don't see anything at a glance with your passives, though. But it would make sense that there's something. Roll 20.
All right. I feel a bit better
So
about
many
these
crits.
critical fails now.
While everyone is doing the investigating, I'll still be like essentially just standing guard by the door. Could I just throw perception out and just make sure actively tracking, especially looking for any noises within the rest of the temple?
Okay.
And you
Good,
said this
good
room looks like a room of worship?
It seems like a study.
Okay.
A study and bedroom, like kind of attached. Like probably the head cleric's room or something like that.
Okay, like the head cleric's room. I think in that case, Sulveran is really more looking at it from the eye of like, he's fascinated by this whole other clerical tradition more than he is looking for loot like usual.
Yeah, and you're somewhat disappointed because it seems like a lot of the important clerical things have been removed already. There's not as much like religious iconography in here as you would probably expect. Probably it's been taken, carted off, because it was probably made of valuable materials. Maybe melted down and repurposed, maybe just, thrown in a pile with all the other loot taken from the city. Will, with your critical 27, as you're looking about, the desk has been split in half, like a large fist or something kind of just punched it in the middle and caved it in. So it's kind of saying broken right there. But you're not sure that they looked through the desk as thoroughly as you did. The drawers have been pulled clearly, and if there were papers in there, they've been, just destroyed by time or were taken. You, however, kind of note seems to be a puzzle hidden within this desk. You kind of pull out a couple of the drawers completely, throwing them off. Looking at the inside, there's definitely some hidden mechanism here, or some space that is clearly not been used. Like there shouldn't be this much wood here. It's too thick. It doesn't really make quite that much sense. You're looking about. You do find some writing here. Seems to be not really Elvish words, just symbols. Valkaran, you kind of study it for a moment before pushing on different on the inside of where you pull out the drawers a little bit. Here, click, reaching around, click, again, click, till you hear a soft. And out from the bottom of where the shelving unit is, a small box would be too generous. It doesn't have a lid or anything. It just kind of pops down as you reach down and pull it out. Set it down to a hefty chink, 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 chink. There's a good amount of coins here as you pull a bag, open it up. Seems to be about 300 gold pieces in this bag. You look through, count them real quick. Possibly part of the temple's treasury, or might even been this cleric's own stuff, their own purse. But you do also find papers, a number of old writings. Glancing at them, a lot of them seem to be, maybe they were important at one time, but the names don't really mean anything to you, as the three people who can kind of speak Elkar are looking through them. Probably important documents talking about different kinds of things, movements of clerical orders, but this was thousands of years ago. They might be interesting to a historian. Medea, you probably find them interesting for that reason, but they don't really have any value to you at the moment. You do, however, find a pendant symbol of Sill. It's sort of made to look like one moon, but in all three phases. Like you can see, there's a crescent here, a half moon here, and then the full moon, all in this one symbol, done just stylistically. Will you think that this is magical?
That it isn't?
That it is. As you're looking over it, there are clearly runes on the back of it.
Alright, I think Will just gives the papers that she's looking through to Medea, knowing that Medea prefers this kind of thing anyway, and Will doesn't think there's anything important, and then gives the symbol of Sill opposite to Sulveran.
Sulveran, for once, doesn't just stare bewildered when he's being offered loot, and he will accept it, and then he stops as he's taking it and just tilts his head kind of in question because he's heard Will praying to Sill.
My parents used to say prayers to Sill in the night, but I follow Vera. So
The stones.
I've also heard you beseech Sill before, so
it's been an arrangement. Vera makes sense with the stones, and he is going to I think he's going to ask Medea to, well, no, given that it's not been touched and everything else has been taken, I think he's going to assume it's safe, and he is just going to slip it on.
Oh, it's some kind of magic, by the way.
Oh yeah, wait. It says
does she say that before or after he gets it over his head? Because he just took it from her trustingly.
Probably after, because normally Sulveran's pretty cautious with this stuff, and this is a quick motion for Sulveran to be
yeah.
So Will's oh, it's magic. It probably isn't relevant. I don't know what it does, but I guess you'll
Sulveran
find
just
out.
looks down at his neck.
There's not an immediate negative effect.
He's just going to shrug and tuck it underneath his armor before he moves on.
That seems to be all of note in this room. Moving onward, mirrored on the other side, there's another study. Basically exactly the same, except for this one you think was maybe a bit nicer, or at least the stuff was a bit like looking at the linen. It's silk. Something about it, like the desk is maybe a little bit nicer. But there is symbolism, or there was, you think, Will, based off of looking about all the spots where paintings on the walls, that kind of thing, which have been scratched out stuff. Symbols for Perador. Looking through the area, go ahead and make an investigation check if he wants to. Advantages, however you want to do that.
I think we may as well just all make them, like, if everyone can do it.
Just so you know, I'm still focusing on that perception on the outside, just trying to guard our 6. Damn, Will.
With you, the rolls today. So straight.
I think Foundry has a problem where it's like, oh, you rolled a lot of bad rolls. Yeah, 2 good ones.
Unfortunately, as you look through the room, there are no hidden compartments, as you would expect for Perador. You don't think that they would have kept anything particularly hidden. But you are pretty confident from searching about that this was the room of the head priest of the Cleric of Perador here. The priesthood for Perador here. You could see that there was a spot where there was a wall mount with a sword. There was a space where there probably would have sat armor of some kind, probably chain or plate mail or something like that, both of which have been removed. The room is fortunate for that crit. Moving on, you come to another hallway, this with several different bedrooms. There's about 6 in here. Looking through them all, much the same as in the ones to Sill, similar size, similar things. You suspect that this was the one that housed the priesthood for Perador. That's why it's a little bit larger. There's probably more Perador priests here. But you don't find, much like the head cleric's room, you don't find much of note in this particular area. Anything valuable probably would have been left pretty in the open and has since been taken. Unless you want, splintered wood. SOL here.
Can I burn the wood into charcoal?
Sure, given enough time, you could burn the wood into charcoal.
I'm gonna keep that for later when we find a place to rest.
If you want to chop down like 2 trees and turn it into charcoal, you might be able to get enough to burn for fine familiar. To like big trees, redwoods. Continuing onward to the next room. This appears to be a like a baths area. So the baths are now empty. Probably whatever sluices filled this area with water haven't been used in some time, so it's just all dried up. Around, you can see like spots where they probably kept towels and various other things, but apart from the broken murals, there's not much of interest in here either. Going into the final room, you find cubby holes that you think were where scrolls were kept. Although what's left is not but bits of paper that have just been, forgotten about, as probably the scrolls were quickly pulled out and taken somewhere else or burned or something like that. There's also shelving where you think there were more books at one point. Now there are still a good amount of books. Looking through the various titles, mostly in Elvish, but 1 or 2 in other scripts, Dwarven, common precursor to Romnian. They seem to mostly be religious texts. On the nature of gods, talking about philosophy of either Perador or Sill, that kind of thing, which you're more than welcome to take. There's probably about 20 books left in total. But there are large empty sections where you think the more important books have already been taken and carted off somewhere else. Possibly
know
by
that
the
demons
demons,
would
possibly
want-
by the Elcar themselves when they fled the city.
That's right.
What were you going to say, Madhu?
I was just gonna say I'm definitely taking the book on the history of Sil and Perador.
Okay. Yeah, just mark it down.
How much do all these books weigh?
Normal book size. I think it's like 2 pounds or something in D&D. Yeah, we'll say they weigh. These are not massive tomes, so probably like 1 pound a piece.
Just take all of them.
Yep, that's exactly what begins to happen here.
Yeah.
Shoving
I'll
all the
just-
books down.
So that's all 6 of the doors.
Yes, you've gone through all 6 of the doors and
Then
have yet to locate a spot for this Keystone Crystal.
then while they're kind of putting books away, I think we'll say, I think we should probably leave, but maybe we should investigate the big fountain that the snake's at the top of first, in case there's a secret path through there to something.
I think water probably has something to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Andrew, I just want to
Medea,
make
you
sure
have looked
my
through this
perception didn't
fountain?
reveal any.
No, you haven't heard. In the temple, at least, you haven't heard any noise, but your companions or seen anything.
Gotcha.
Medea,
Okay,
you've looked
cool.
through that fountain. You are confident that there's nothing there.
No, it just means like maybe not in the fountain, but in the water.
Does it look like the water was here when it was a temple to Sill?
Yeah,
Because these are
you think that the water has always been there.
no. Will is only interested in looking at the fountain because I think that she thinks the water already existed. So
We'll say I've checked it before and didn't find anything. I'm free to double check, but
I
no,
think
Will trust Medea's first look.
I was gonna say I think Uba's gonna kind of like pout and say, "For a goddess of secrets, there sure aren't that many secrets in here," and is just gonna scowl.
perhaps we should ask for her help here. Nobody's going to discover these secrets anytime soon.
What, you mean you just kind of look up and say, "Sill, can we get some help?" Would that work?
Oh, maybe not that traditionally, but I know the gods like a song and dance.
Medea, do you like gods or not?
Same way one likes a manager, I guess. One that's not particularly communicative. Helpful only at random times. Your coworkers all love it.
But don't you have consistent power flowing to you from a god?
No. My heritage comes from that, but my power comes from my own dedication.
Can I roll a religion check to know if that's how paladins work?
Sure.
18.
A lot of paladins derive their powers from oaths. Most paladin powers ultimately derive from Perador, from whatever commitments that they have binded in the divine magic. So, like, even though the oath might be to a king or a cause or something like that, most of the time, not most of the time, a lot of the time it derives from Perador, even if they aren't necessarily strict worshippers of that god, because they're following their tenets, so to speak. And the act is what is important to Perador. Some Some paladins derive their powers from other gods. Ones of nature might derive them from Semilus or Aramis, something like that. Some don't seem to derive their power from any god in particular, but many people think from multiple gods at once or some unclear source, some unknown facet of the world that it manifests from their devotion to a particular cause or oath. So it's certainly possible that it could be one of two things. Medea's powers could derive from a god, and they're just not an active worshiper or really cognizant of which god. But because the god is more concerned about what oaths they're swearing and how they're upholding them, that's what's important to them. Or it could be that Medea is, like some scholars think, deriving their powers from some other, not, maybe not even really cognizant entity or place that divine magic flows out of. Nobody questions that their powers are directly related to the gods. It's just a matter of how this mechanism exactly functions, because it doesn't work quite like clerics. It's not exactly the same. Otherwise, paladins would just be clerics.
Will adds all of that to their paladin box of their brain, and they don't have time to get into a debate about this Medea. He says, "All right, whatever. Sure, we can try to pray to Sill, but this is not a temple of Sill anymore. So
I
For
think
secrets,
I will say a
yeah.
prayer to Sill
before we do
for."
that, sorry, go ahead, Jack.
No, it's all right. You were going to say something from before we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we do that, Uba's gonna make a suggestion that, if at all possible, the least defaced of the Sill statues, maybe we could try and pull the snake off or knock the horns off or something like that, kind of restore it. Maybe that would help. But again, Uba is the least religious of the group.
It would take some time. I think even Uba would know. Although perhaps the effort itself would be appreciated. To fully undo the work that's been done.
Gotcha. So it's like actual stonemason work,
Yeah, these things were at least impartially redone by a mason.
Got it. Okay. Never mind.
Perhaps the answer to finding the keyhole for the keystone lies in it in itself.
I might have missed part of what you said, sir, but I didn't understand what your suggestion was.
Medea says that, perhaps the keystone itself reveals where the keyhole is.
Sure, I'll give Medea the keystone while I devise a prayer to Sill to reveal unto us, to uncover the darkness of our eyes, to reveal the secrets of this temple.
You can make a religion check with charisma.
Sulveran is leaning next to Will to listen to this, but doesn't necessarily. And is it truly necessary that we pray to a statue or within the temple itself?
I mean, I can pray while walking, Sulveran. I got a critical again.
Then you roll, but what was the religion check for them?
It was for the
5 minutes ago.
It was for the
the paladin thing.
Right. Okay. Got it. You just did because you don't have it trained. You just did a charisma check. Got it.
Yeah, I was trying to work out which way to do it, and it's charisma with jack of all trades, so it's charisma.
That's fair. Okay. You spend a moment, kind of thinking of a prayer. Speak it out to Sill, asking them to reveal where secrets might be left over in this temple. you do feel a sort of something almost like a person, standing behind you or maybe above you. There's like almost a feeling of breath on your neck that makes the hair stand up momentarily, and you kind of glance back to nothingness. But you hear a calm, soft voice in your head. And they say, since you got a crit, they're going to talk to you directly. I have to think about the wording very carefully here.
Will, you are the best.
No.
Those that you travel with are lucky to be graced with your presence.
You hear a voice saying, in this desecrated temple, you have found the greatest mystery that there is. The key goes elsewhere. My secrets have been destroyed here. And I can not even easily speak to you now. And you feel the presence break. It's fleeting, almost as though you might have imagined it.
Will kind of turns to Sulveran and says, I think Sill has a very soothing voice.
Sulveran stares at Will and nods slightly, but doesn't ask specifically what was said. Like, he's intensely curious, and that's kind of obvious because he's tilting his head, but he kind of like presses his lips together and kind of draws back to make it clear that he's not going to ask.
The once mistress of this temple says that we found everything. The key is for another place.
Well, it's good enough for me. And he will hand the keystone back.
I'll put it in the bag of holding.
Perhaps we leave with haste. Is there a door that we did not enter through that we could exit via?
Second floor opposite exits.
I think there was one in the kitchen too, if I remember correctly.
You could go back out the way you came. You could go out across the way. You're not sure exactly where that leads to. Somewhere outside of the temple square, probably. Or out the side entrance, which probably goes to a side street somewhere.
Side entrance seems good.
Okay. You head out to the side entrance.
Will considers if maybe she should worship Sill now that she's had a direct visitation from that god.
Yeah. So you, worth mentioning, Sulveran, and maybe Alveron as well. God speaking to people directly is pretty rare. Mordain has maybe, you think, Sulveran spoken to you 3 times in your entire career of being a cleric. Alveron, you've never heard the words of Senelis directly. So, you're like, you believe Will because you don't think Will will lie about such things, but it's very definitely like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Sulveran's mulling on it as they walk for sure. But
we think it has to do like a lot with the location we're in, like where we are right now. That's why.
It could be. It could also be that whatever this task is perhaps a little bit more important than you realize. The gods certainly will focus their attention more on things that they think are important, even if the people involved are perhaps not as heavily aligned with them.
Certainly not anything to do with Will.
Certainly not anything to do with Will.
I head back.
Man, I wish Will was secretly like more aligned to the gods than this.
So where we want to go next?
Although you do know that Will was engaged at one point, and
Yeah.
Hey,
It does fall into Sill's domain, so maybe there is something there you're not aware of.
Do we know that? Do our characters know that?
Yeah, because
Oh,
there was a drunk message.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
some of you know that Will accidentally, while drunk, sent a sending to her
The drunk
ex-fiance,
sending.
and then had to the next day send a sending saying it was a
Missending.
pre-automated.
Will saw someone get murdered and their head bashed in and thought, I should call him.
Right. You head out the back
We should.
entrance. So you can, from here, you could still go anywhere. You could go loop back around to where you started. I know originally I thought you guys were going to go to that other building. I did go to the Temple of Sill instead. You could move north to the theater. You could go to the broken bridge that leads to the palace. Or you could just leave.
I think Will has suggested that we go back to the house and rest, and then go around the east side to like the square building.
Okay. Go ahead and make a group stealth check. You are.
I do
But
not have any more spell slots, so it's all us.
Well, we're out of the Temple of Sill, and now my rolls are garbage again.
Because I'm assuming it's been well over an hour since
You have
last
Oh,
time
yeah.
you have
casted it.
advantage still because of your hood,
Ooh.
right? Because
Huh?
of your
I'm
cloak.
Oh, yeah,
hoping
yeah.
that
Oh
saves
yeah, I
it.
do.
yeah.
Thank you. I forgot about the cloak.
oh, don't you have disadvantage, Sulveran? Yes.
Yeah, it's just I'm not even
Yeah.
trying to do the control
Man.
trick right now because it's so slow.
What roll good?
Hello,
Or actually did good.
Andrew.
Yeah, sorry. I was rolling over first.
Wow.
When you roll a 16 and a 20, I mean,
Man,
I think the NPCs
Will's a
saved
better
you guys
character than
there.
Will is.
Kella actually helps Will be more quiet.
Does Kella
Will
have...
is. To be fair to Will, a god just spoke in her head.
Yeah,
Well,
Killa,
Yes, that would be very distracting.
because I think I know what Sarah's about to ask. Killa does not have proficiency in anything. They just have a pretty good dex.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Proficiency
Will's
and
like looking.
precociousness. Yeah.
I imagine like Will trying to stealth out of there and like looking over her shoulder, like to see if Sill is still there. Oh.
Okay, so let me just.
I was hoping that this stealth roll would be the stealth roll to convince Sulveran that he needs to put on his mithril, but alas.
Yeah, such are your stealth rolls that you rolling at 13 is like such an achievement.
It is. It is.
Okay, so
What-
you
roll's
move along.
trash.
Will is somewhat distracted by the recent events and is perhaps not being as careful as they might usually be. Uba similarly, it having been a while since you had to stealth without the aid of Pass Without a Trace, is maybe not being quite as cautious as they would before they gained access to this magic. However, Calandra, Ort, and Alveron is basically like a ghost to you all, leading the pack, moving silently, darting between buildings, and without making hardly any noise whatsoever, such that you don't think anybody who is looking for them could catch them. Ort has kind of, even with all their heavy armor, they're like being extra furtive to be quiet because they know that you guys don't have the protection of the magic anymore, and they're like really like, I don't want to be the one to get everything caught, so they're like trying to hold everything together as they walk. Calandra, of course, unburdened by things such as armor or height, is very stealthy in this moment. You all begin to make your way back towards the house which you had camped at last night. Picking your way through buildings, trying to avoid main thoroughfares or streets. At one point, as you're moving about, Alveron first, and then Medea, followed by... Is it Medea? No, sorry. Uba, followed by basically the rest of you. Hear sounds of footsteps in lockstep, marching creatures passing through the streets.
Shoot.
You are sticking to side thoroughfares, and you're being stealthy. It seems like you're going to avoid them, but if you wanted to, one of you could perhaps go and take a look. There's just based off your rolls, there's no point where you would break out of cover and see them based off of how you're traveling and where they're traveling.
Does it sound like a lot of footsteps?
It does sound like quite a few. You would guess a party similarly sized to your own of people. It's hard to tell from just the sounds of their movement. It's definitely not one or two creatures, though. You don't think?
I think Uba's gonna do a wild pantomime at Will, trying to pantomime using a spyglass, so we don't actually have to go up close. Will did buy that spyglass, like.
Yeah, I have the spyglass.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like toss it to. I go to toss it to Uwe, and then out of the corner of Will's eye, just spots Alveron, like shimmering with stealth, and we'll give the spyglass to Alveron if he wants to go have a look.
Okay. Sure. Andrew, is the spyglass? Are they like? I mean, is it a matter of I have to sneak out and then I'll be like in an alcove of the street and be able to see them, or will the spyglass like enable me to be farther away and not be heard? Like, I'm asking, is the spyglass actually going to give me an advantage on this in this urban environment?
The spyglass would probably let you, if you wanted to say get up on a rooftop and be farther away from them, still enable you to see them pretty good, as opposed to being closer, but just out of sight. You do have to move towards this main thoroughfare just because of sight angles and all these buildings.
Okay, in that case, I won't risk the athletics or acrobatics check trying to get up onto a roof. I think I'll just try to continue sneaking a little bit closer to the main thoroughfare. I'll go down one of the alleys and just try to peer out and see what's going on.
Okay. Sorry. You make your way.
I thought that was in game. I was like, what the hell did I just do?
Alveron, your phone
triggered something.
You make your way, through these side streets heading towards the main thoroughfare where you know that the sounds are coming. You kind of peek out to a number of creatures. They're carrying spears, long, wicked-looking spears, hefting them, and they are marching down towards the Temple District in lockstep. There are currently 6 of these creatures. They're pretty human-looking in terms of like form. They do have kind of like thick tails and purplish skin. They're wearing kind of bronzish looking armor. They've got thick beards of tangled, like barbed, almost like ivy or whips or something like that. They're all like gnarled at the end. And they seem to kind of be moving on their own, almost like a octopus's tentacles or something like that. But they're green and long, and they don't have like sucker or anything to latch on to. But you think if you were up close to one of these things, they would probably, get up into your face and be quite painful.
Okay.
Specifically, they're wielding
Are
glaives.
these familiar at all? Like,
You can make
do I have any like story or
you make a
any
religion or
collector's like
arcana check, or maybe a
It's
history
gonna be
check.
the same either way. We'll go with religion. I feel like that's the most. Holy shit!
God, you guys have rolled so many 20s today.
Listen, I am owed after the last like 3 sessions.
You really
Andrew.
are.
You are.
Okay. You have heard of these things. They're lower on the totem pole as far as demons are concerned, sort of, marchers, more common soldiers. They're called Hamatula, or barbed devils. They're greedy creatures. They often act as, like I said, guards or foot soldiers, that kind of thing. They like to fight, especially when they think that they can get something out of it, gold, money, anything like that. And they're known to be quite difficult to surprise. They're very good guards. They don't slack off. If they're on guard duty, unlike say, humans, elves, dwarves, or whatever, you will almost never catch them slacking off to gamble or drink or anything like that. They can, let me just tell you, with a 20, they can use their barbed beards as weapons, and you can be poisoned by this. Their long, wicked glaives are said to heal wounds that do not easily heal without additional aid, magical or by a medic or physic of some kind, which causes lasting blood loss.
Huh.
They're very difficult to frighten, and like I said, they're pretty hard to surprise. You also know they're immune to fire and poison.
Okay.
But like I said, they're not incredibly strong. Certainly not the strongest demons in the demonic forces. But they're no
Gotcha.
pushover
So
either.
this is a foot patrol.
Yeah.
This is getting sent through. Looking, it's headed to the Temple District. It's headed for us.
Yeah.
So okay. I'll just observe and report. Wait until they're past. Were there any other? Good point. Sarah asked, how many did I count go past?
You count 6 in this troop. There could be more in other troops.
Gotcha. And then they didn't have any hellhounds or any other bolstering forces, correct? It was just them with their
Just
spears?
those 6, yeah.
Okay.
They seem to be making a beeline for the Temple District. And you think if you had delayed longer, they probably would have been there before you left. They're marching pretty quickly.
Gotcha. Is there an obvious leader of their band?
There does seem to be one kind of out in front, glancing about with a bit more of an air of leadership.
Okay.
But he's not that distinguished from them. They're pretty identical looking to you.
Okay. All right. After they've gone past, and I'm sure that there's no one else trailing them or coming after, I'll come back to the group and just kind of give a signal of it's all right. They went past. When we get to the safe house, we'll talk, and then we'll keep moving.
You guys continue onwards until you reach the safe house. Thankfully, not bumping into any other demons. Entering back in, you find the stuff that you left your mounts in, etc. All there, seemingly safe and sound.
Gotcha. As soon as we're back and we've established a quick perimeter, I'll just quickly spill. Talk about the 6 of them. Looks like they were heading right in to investigate the temple district, looking for us. They're barbed devils, called also Hamatua. They're known for being exceptionally good guards. Just kind of like stroking my own naked face. Just kind of talk about the beards, almost a little ickified. But that's what's so going. They didn't have any hellhounds with them or anything else. It just looked like a standard foot patrol. So I'm not too worried, but we definitely need to have someone on guard duty ready for anything to happen tonight if another one of those patrol comes close to the safe house.
I think Sulveran's going to. I'll take the middle watch. Will, Ort, if you'd like a full rest.
Yeah, I mean, Will doesn't mind when her watch is, but if Ort cares. Otherwise, we'll watch with Uber for a change. You don't get to hang out that much on watches.
Sounds good to Uba.
Well, Will and Uber will go first
Yeah, that sounds
to
good.
get that out of the way.
Okay, I'll just remember. Who's the next 2 then? Maybe Ort and somebody.
Oh. Yeah.
Sulveran and someone.
Yeah, Sulveran's taking middle.
Medea, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then Ort and Alveron.
Sure.
Whoever is doing the stealthing up the place, let's make a stealth check.
It's definitely Alveron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
I
want
don't
me
have
to make a
pass without a
stealth?
trace anymore. So
It
You
wouldn't
said
matter. 'cause
stealth
it's-
check?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
not bad.
Be busy about going kind of back across where you had traveled, making it seem like, nobody passed through this way, as best you can, covering tracks and whatnot. Trying to make it seem, covering up the doors, but in such a way that doesn't seem that conspicuous, trying to make it so that, your sound and stuff isn't traveling that far, without making it seem like somebody's doing that. So that for anybody looking outside, it still looks like this is an abandoned building that nobody's staying in. You guys pass not really the night or the day, since it's by the time you get back, it's still only just starting to get towards dinner time. Not even really dinner time yet. You stick on watch.
And we get Ort to cast create food and water.
Sure, Orc will cast create food and water.
Do we long rest?
I'm gonna get to that. Sorry.
Okay.
I just want to double check. I think we had said that's like just 1 meal for all of you. It's like 50. It's like quite a lot.
I think when Ort and Will talked about it, it was like a day's worth of rations, but I think that's the way the spell works. So 1 meal would be fine.
There's a specific amount, but it works out to pretty close to 1 day's rations for all of you and your mounts and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Art will do that. You will all eat and start to bed down for rest. Will and Uba, on the first watch, you guys are kind of waiting, listening about, looking around. You do hear more marching in the street, another patrol, and if you peek out of the home, you can see off in the distance one of them making their rounds across the city, kind of occasionally peeking into homes, looking about, but just in general trying to, detect anybody who's not supposed to be here. However, they don't go approach your house at any point, and they never come quite close enough for you to feel like waking the others.
Does it seem like they're looking for us specifically, or they're just like doing like regular patrols that they would normally do?
Hard to tell. You hadn't seen them since you've been here. You had been like moving about a fair amount. You would have thought if these were regular patrols that you would have seen them before, but maybe it's just that the time of day wasn't right. You're not sure. It's hard to say because they're not like beelining for your building, but they are looking in buildings like they're looking for stuff. So
We
maybe.
also left a bunch of demon bodies in the temple district.
Yeah. Oops.
So like, it's not like they don't know that someone's here. Before, provided that our watch passes,
It does.
we'll say a prayer to Sill before going to sleep.
Okay. You feel, you don't pray to God a lot, but you do feel strangely comforted by that more than you would have previously praying to a god, knowing that they might be watching.
And at least Sill prayers are just prayers, and they don't give you garbage, gibberish information like falling stones. I denounce Vera. At this moment, does not know.
All right. Medea and Sulveran take the next watch. You guys exchange information about the patrols, etc. as you're switching out watch, as you would do. You guys stand around similarly, waiting, listening, to see if anybody approaches. Again, more bearded devils pass through the neighborhood, looking at this time at different buildings. And this is about like 4 hours since the last watch, or thereabouts. This isn't happening like every hour on the hour, big city. But they do pass through again, looking through buildings. They seem to be trying to see if anybody passed through here, trying to check for tracks. They don't approach your building.
Alright.
Your watch passes otherwise successfully.
Alright. I think Sulveran spends whatever time he has that he's not paranoidly staring out the window, contemplating his fancy new necklace and asking Medea their thoughts on it. Almost kind of like slightly like he's trying to get a rise out of them because he knows their thoughts about the gods, but he still wants to know if they have any actual knowledge.
Medea just thinks it's pretty, and they like continue sitting on their weaver's tools. And they don't seem especially upset with Sulveran. Like they just seem happy that Sulveran has a new trinket they like.
Yeah, presumably Sulveran doesn't notice anything about it, and he's not in the habit of talking to Sill, so he doesn't try.
Like at the most, Medea says something to the effect of like, "I'm glad the gods are so oft able to directly aid you."
It was not I that Sill spoke to, but Will.
Well, I'm glad they've done that for him. Medea continues like knitting on weaver's tools. There's like a hint of bitterness.
He doesn't poke at that wound. Just keeps turning that necklace back and forth, and then eventually goes on. Is it Alveron and Ort next?
Yes.
Yeah. So he will very gently wake them.
Yeah. Thanks. What? Oh, what the? Ort and Alveron take their last watch as the you're resting again for I'm just gonna assume 12ish 10ish hours, since that kind of just makes sense with the timeline. So Alveron and Ort are kind of waking up still in pre-dawn darkness before the sun rises, especially here where the sandstorm is. The two of you take your watch. Awful. Okay. Once again, another patrol passes by. And once again, luckily, Alveron, you think not really having anything to do with your stealth. You think at this point it's just luck that they haven't happened to peek into your building, as they seem to be checking a lot of the houses. Although it certainly probably helped that you stealthed up the place, that they didn't immediately go there. They pass by, this time closer than they did the other times, but still never approaching it so directly that you think to wake the others, before eventually leaving to go to another part of the city. And at the end of your watch, you begin to wake everybody who's not already awake, because probably the first watch people would already be rising by the time your watch is ending, just naturally.
Yeah.
And you all successfully long rest.
Nice.
Woohoo!
At this point, I lose all my temporary hit points, but it's okay.
But I also
I'll
get back to spell slot with which to give you more temporary hit points.
This is true. I also don't have it nearly as bad as some people here.
Are we getting Song of Rest?
Yes. I think Will always do that, because there's no cost to it.
I'm doing pretty all right though. I've got like 6 spell slots left.
I could have taught myself to. So I am back to.
What music did you play for us this night, Will?
I think Will probably changes her instrument to something that is not one of her proficiencies, like not a hurdy-gurdy, not a fiddle, and not a cymbal. And she changes it to say bagpipes, because I think that's what they would have played in her hometown. And she plays a song that's called Hymn to the Night Mistress, and it's like a lullaby that you play to children as part of their whatever the equivalent is for a baptism or a christening in Sill's religion, since she has Sill on the mind. It's not well. Hang on, let's see. It's probably not that good because she's not proficient in bagpipes.
You're also trying to play that very softly, which is not a soft instrument.
It's still okay. It's hard to regulate sound on bagpipes. Yeah. Will is finding, and that's where the real difficulty comes in.
Definitely not made for that.
Yeah, I still think Sulveran enjoys the general playing of bagpipes, since it's not something he gets to hear often down here. I feel like probably not that common an instrument outside of the mountains, etc.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very nice hymn, I guess. It's really probably bad on bagpipes.
I don't get why bagpipes get so much trash talk. They're a pleasant instrument.
Well, I disagree with you.
Oh, they're just not made for, being played inside of halls and small rooms. They're made for the Scottish fucking Highlands.
Yep, exactly. Or
they need to roll in the mountains.
Yeah.
Hear smog, ignite something in your soul that makes you want to run into the woods.
To be honest, I'm ready to run into bed. Are we gonna keep going this session?
We'll keep going for a little bit longer. So I know you guys are still planning on going to the
big 5-story rectangle building.
Great, cool.
That one.
You all rise, gather your things, feeling refreshed, thankful for having a long rest, having consumed up any resources, especially for some of you in particular, and begin to head out again. This time, going to the east, to the west, opposite of where you had been previously. Go ahead and give me stealth checks.
Oh lord.
You're getting past without a trace.
Holy shit! Snacks
I will
and a
do
Batman.
pass without a trace.
So many.
Boop, 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 doo, doo,
Oh, hey, it's actually pretty good. 25.
Ooh, look
Jesus.
at that crit.
You guys didn't even need it.
What
37, let's
we
go.
we have 40, 37, 30, 25, whatever Ort rolls, whatever Keller rolls, and also Sulveran stepped on 57 rakes that have symbols attached.
Wirt got a 9, so his total was 19.
Sulveran steps on just like this large glass bottle, and then like another one, and then another one. And below each of them is a rake hidden under the glass bottles.
Keller got a 29. Are you convinced yet? I feel like there's a moment in this stealthing where Sulveran looks around and nobody's there. Like,
yeah, I need to hear the
The cacophony
narration.
of sound that you're making is all that you can see. You get synesthesia for seeing sounds.
So you guys
Come
are
on, here's a chance.
make your way over that way. That way's a little bit less populated with streets. There's a bit of a break where you kind of have to cross more of a bit of a ravine that has some foliage in it. As you go through that bit, Sulveran, you are sticking out like a sore thumb. You're kind of like standing up. You know, you're trying to kneel, get low, but the foliage isn't big enough to really hide your full body, and as you're like leaning down, all your bone mail is like clinking repetitively against itself. Ort would be in a similar position. However, thanks to the pass without a trace, most of his sound is muted, as he doesn't have to really crouch as much to move through this foliage. The others are moving through it, and Sulveran, most of you couldn't spot each other most of the time, except for the fact that you're all kind of moving in the same direction at the same time, aware of where you all entered and knowing where to look. But yeah, Alveron is like moving in such a way that he could not be seen from outside of this thicket. Thankfully, you all are able to pass through, even with Sulveran's noise and everything, without being detected. You do pass by as you are entering into the area where, with this 5-story square building, there is a patrol exiting it of 6 bearded devils. You've seen collectively enough of them that you are fairly confident that these are different patrols, and you don't think you've seen the same patrol twice. You don't think. You haven't gotten a very good look at some of them, but just from recounting the details to each other, you think that you've seen 4 distinct. Now 5 distinct patrols. Meaning, if you were to do the math, that there's at least 30 of these creatures in the city patrolling around. You are able to make your way through the streets, as you suspected, based off of your looking about earlier and your vantage points. This seems to mainly be a sort of crafts district. There are the remains of smithies, blacksmiths here and there, tanneries long since devoid of anybody to work them. But the streets are nice, a bit wider here, very orderly, very square, kind of obviously pre-planned. You make your way up to the big building, where you see a large symbol dedicated to, clearly this temple is dedicated. This is a temple dedicated to Almain. But you also see the word for library written in Ancient Elvish and Elcon. And two large stone doors still standing at the entrance, waiting for you to open them. And that's where we're going to pick up at the next session.
I don't know, open up the big storm doors.
Temple library.
Stone
So
doors
what?
in my bedroom.
18 guardsmen roaming about. At least.
30, I think.
Oh, nice.
Well, there was one every watch, and the one that we
Oh, yeah,
saw
absolutely,
yesterday and today, that's 30 at least.
Yep.
But I think the fact that there's been no repetition makes it more likely that there's like just a horde of these things.
Yep. An army.
I'm going to assume that we didn't level up from our killing of one snake.
No, unfortunately, the killing of one snake was not enough to level. Although you did find a very neat thing, which I thought you were going to miss because I thought you were just going to leave this area. That's good to know.
Andrew,
Yeah.
in relation to the question I just asked you, you'll let me know when that is
Yes, of course.
fine to switch over.
Please forgive me. Let me roll back because I totally skipped. I totally skipped over a very, very important thing that I definitely meant to do the next time you rested. I apologize. You just reminded me of something. Uba. We're going to keep all the same rolls. Everything's the same. In the night during your watch, you are watching over your egg, and it's moved a couple times. Like the creature inside has kind of shifted about. You've had it for a while, and presumably it was in that den for a long time as well. Your ostracized eggs, you're kind of looking over it, maybe petting it a little bit, as you start to hear
Oh shit!
You see an eye pop out.
Oh.
And like a claw.
What is it?
Pulls out, pulls part of the shell down. Creature pulls another part of the shell down. Looks about.
Since I'm also on watch, do I notice this?
Oh yeah, you can hear and see this happening. And you see a little drake looking up at you.
Oh my god.
And it begins to munch on the shell of the egg.
I think Uba is going to go, like, I'm sure this is probably really gross to look at, but Uba is going to go, like, full hard eyes, and it's like, oh, it's the baby, and is going to start cooing at it.
Wakes everyone up. Look at my baby!
Yes.
I don't
So-
think
Will just watches that and is like, okay, that's a thing now.
I'm
This is
just
the
saying,
second
as
time I've
someone
seen
who has
something
had
give birth.
actual last sleep guard shift before, if you wake me up before last guard shift, there is a homicide occurring.
I think that
I will look
Uba
at your baby in the morning.
won't wake anybody up, but is going to try their best to be like comforting it so it doesn't make any noise. Because honestly, this would be probably the last time that you would want to have a baby suddenly appear.
Yeah.
Oh my
Fortunately-
god, it's the quiet place. The quiet place is happening.
Fortunately, drake babies don't seem to make a lot of noise. It seems to be making a sort of sound, like in the back of its throat, but it's kind of munching on the shell as well. That kind of it is a little bit slick, but there's not like gooby contents or anything coming out of it.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's quiet. But yeah, Uba is very happy that this little drake hatched, and they might be giving it like little bits of rations, but they'll wait to break the good news to everyone in the morning because I'm sure everyone was really exhausted.
Every time you look back into your eyes and it looks up into yours, you definitely get a sense of like connection that you had felt through the egg, but even stronger now. Like this creature recognizes you as important to it, and you feel that same thing going back. You feel this bond that has been forming all the while start to really grow within you at this point.
Oh, cute.
And we will end then with the image of the drake kind of peeking slightly out of Uba's back as you guys are standing in front of this library temple.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the session, everybody.
Yeah, it was good.
It's a good one. I
It was a
enjoyed
good
it.
session.
I'm excited for next week. I think we probably still have a few sessions left. I'm curious to see if you guys cut and run at this point, or if you're in it till you die, or leave
We're gonna have a vote.
successful.
I love those are the two options, Andrew. Those are the
We
two
can't-
paths.
You're gonna die, or
We
you're
can't.
gonna do the whole thing. One of those two is gonna happen, I think, at this point.
There's all this like foreshadowing of level 7 as well. Like the Drake has hatched. All this stuff, foreshadowing level 7, where like suddenly we're all just there's so many cool things coming next level. And it's just like, oh, not this session.
No.
Yeah, if we continue here for 2 or 3 more long rests, will we level anyways? I'm curious.
There is
If
so
we don't die.
it's not time based. There's a thing you can do in the city that will get you a level before you leave.
Oh.
We find Andrew.
And his box.
He's an NPC.
And you might do it. You're fairly possible. You haven't completely missed
We should
something.
just leave.
Yet, I'll tell you.
We should just leave, take the level, and then come back.
Andrew's
You
And
could
he's
travel
got
all the
the
way to
DM.
Alveron and come back. I can't tell you that it's not going to be harder when you get back.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like it would be harder with them all on alert and the. Yeah. We gotta go
Alright.
stick that orb somewhere and turn off the sand cloud
True.
I'm
or put on the
dedicated
lighthouse.
I'm dedicated to seeing this through because Andrew's got the DM voice of like, "Woohoo, I really hope they go see all of the content in this place."
I wasn't sure. I thought you guys might just get there and leave
I-
and take the money and stuff. But
Strongly disagree that like Andrew would be upset if we left.
means
I
you're
don't
going to come
know.
back at some
From-
point.
Yeah, from my playing with Andrew, it's like I don't think that we'd ever not come back and finish doing this, but
All right, well,
I definitely think this is
Let's-
dangerous for our current.
let's go ahead and let the viewers go. Thanks everybody for watching once again.
I just assume you
No.
do this earlier. That this.
I wait till there's a good break and we're like actually saying goodbye. All right, bye everybody.
Okay, back.